It's time for Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. For the next 3 hours, it's high school basketball from across the Mountain State. Live from Marshall University, here's your host, Ryan Epling.
I'm Bill Cornwell, sitting in for Ryan Epling. Epling not with us right now, but he will be with us a little bit later. But Joe Linville to my left, your right, and Jordan Mounts is with us as well on my right, your left. And welcome to our show this evening. And guys, it's March Madness in February.
Absolutely. Great.
Love it.
This is, if you're a basketball fan, this is your time of the year for sure.
We had some decisions made on the court tonight. And Jordan, some folks are everybody's going to continue who played tonight. They're going to play next week. Mm-hmm. It's just was a decision as to where they're going to play and who they're going to play.
You know, absolutely. It's tournament time. You're playing for home court advantage at this point in time. Winners have home court advantage, losers don't. And, you know, that's so important on the stretch down the road and the road to Charleston there, Bill.
Hey, exactly. I mean, that home court, you know, they say that depending on what level of basketball you're at, it's a good 6 points, 8 points, whatever. And Joe, to get the familiar sights and the home fans could be a difference maker in some of these girls' regionals coming up next week.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, these teams know each other. Most of them has faced each other during the regular season, so they will pull all the stops out and put everything on the floor to hopefully to have that chance to advance onto the Charleston Civic Center.
Well, guys, these games are being played today among a lot of news. I mean, obviously the teacher walkout occurred for the second straight day. There's already been an announcement made that they will continue it for now on Monday.
Right.
And of course, the WVSSAC already busy enough with their state wrestling championship just about 6 blocks down the street from where we're sitting here in Huntington, made the decision that we're going to go on with the girls' postseason. We're going to go on with the sectionals and have the sectional finals as scheduled. And really, at this point, you know, they just basically said we're not going to penalize our athletes because of what's going on the side.
However, breaking news out of Harrison County.
Yes, remember that.
Yes, as of 4:30 today, Bridgeport High School Principal Mark DeFazio announced that their school superintendent said that they could not have any extra activity, you know, at the facilities tonight. So therefore, the Bridgeport versus Lincoln High School girls sectional championship game has been temporarily postponed. We will have Coach Dennis Hudson from Bridgeport on a little later in our show, and he'll explain what they plan to do to try to get this game in.
Yeah, my question would be, guys, would they just go ahead and move it to tomorrow?
Well, they're saying they can't play tomorrow either, but they're trying to get a court injunction to overrule the school superintendent.
They may have to actually get a judge on a Saturday and get him to, you know, make a decision.
Well, I mean, you know, athletics is such a momentum-based activity. Yeah. And, you know, losing the momentum, not playing for a couple of days, that could be detrimental to some of these teams' eventual path to lead them to Charleston, you know. I'm sure these coaches and all these players definitely want to keep things going and keep the train rolling, so to speak.
Now, while we're talking about these girls' postseason games tonight and a bunch of them, Joe, there still were boys' games tonight. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's
last gasp of the regular season on the boys' side.
Looks like there's about 18 boys' games across the state on tap for tonight as well. And, you know, most of those girls' games, or all those girls' games, are for sectional championships.
And, you know, it just seems that although we've just got one partial score on the boys' side, those have been kind of lost. And there was a lot of controversy because some counties were trying to enforce or were enforcing their no school, no play rule. And, you know, and that could actually have held some of these games off. But we do have some boys' games, and as the evening goes on, we will be updating those scores. But let's hit all these scores. We've been talking about this girls' posting. Well, let's just go ahead and let's let the scores tell the story right now. And let's give those scores. Joe, you go ahead and give the scores for us.
Madison, it's the Marshall University Sports Journalism BasketballNight.com scoreboard, taking a look at some of these girls' scores from across the state, and these are all for sectional championships. In AAA Region 1, Section 1, it was Wheeling Park over John Marshall tonight by a score of 63-46. In Region 3, Section 1, it was George Washington over St. Albans tonight, 59-52. And also AAA, Region 3, Section 2. It was Woodrow Wilson, the Flying Eagles, over the Governor's team, the Greenbrier East Spartans, fall tonight, 67-63. And another close one in Region 4, Section 1, AAA. It was Parkersburg South over Parkersburg, 68-59. And also in AAA, Region 4, Section 2, Cabell Midland, the Knights defeat Spring Valley tonight, 51-45. Dropping to Class AA, Region 1, Section 1, it was Frankfort, and this is a halftime score. Frankfort leads Kaiser by a score of 23-15. In AA, Region 1, Section 2, it is North Marion. This is a final now. North Marion defeats Fairmont Senior 60-52. In Region 2, Section 2 AA, Nicholas County defeats Roane County 71-34, and that could be the other game in this AA Region 2 that could actually move on to the regional championships. It was the Lady Pioneers of Wayne winning Region 4, Section 1 tonight over Winfield 52-39. And Class Single A, Region 1, Section 1, Wheeling Central over Cameron tonight, 57-32. It was Magnolia, the Blue Eagles, over Ritchie County. That is in Class A, Section or Region 1, Section 2. We're still waiting to score on the Parkersburg Charleston Catholic. It was Summers County winning their sectional tonight in Class Single A over Meadow Bridge, 61-35. And the Logan Wildcats in Region 4, Section 2 come from behind, and they held the Lincoln County Panthers to only 9 points in the second half. Logan wins it 42-30.
And on the boys' side, we just have one score, and that is an end-of-3 score, and that is Riverview, 1-point lead over Pikeview, 38-37. We will have a bunch of other scores on the boys' side coming up as we've got some interesting games this evening. Among them, a good Class AAA game between Hurricane and Wheeling Park, kind of the intersectional game tonight. Also, Huntington St. Joe's boys are in action this evening against Tulsa, and Grafton and Robert C. Byrd, a Big Ten match up there. So those are some of the boys' teams that are playing tonight, and we will look ahead to that. So, guys, any thoughts on those girls' sectional finals? Any ones that stick out to you?
The only one, of course, I was surprised. Lincoln County was actually leading Logan at the half, and then Logan come back, and they must have played a spectacular game in the second half to come from behind to win that one. So.
Yeah, Joe, that one, you kind of took that one right out of my mouth. Holding them to 9 second-half points, that's quite impressive to be able to do that and come from behind and win that ball game like that.
Well, I guess the one that stands out to me, obviously, is the Governor's team losing. Greenbrier East Falls. Now they have played. They'll be going up to GW to play that regional final next week, and I believe they have beaten GW at GW earlier, actually about 3 weeks ago. So certainly it's no big surprise there.
Yeah, looking over also another game that really kind of stands out, at least for us, is where our co-host is at right now, where our host Ryan Epling's at there. The Wayne Pioneers defeating the Winfield Generals, and I'm sure he's celebrating along with the team there.
Yeah, that's one good thing. I actually had a chance to go up and watch the Midland and Spring Valley one, and of course Ryan not very far out to Wayne. He's making his way in, and so we were able to actually go out and watch basketball tonight before we came in and do the show. Right now, let's go to the phone. With us is the head coach of the Ripley Lady Vikings, John Kennedy, and John, welcome to our show this evening.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Well, you unfortunately had to be an observer tonight, and of course you're up in that tough sectional with Parkersburg South. Your thoughts about South beating Parkersburg this evening?
Well, I knew both those teams and faced them earlier in the season, and I mean, it just depends on sometimes where you play, who's going to come out on top when you've got those two great teams playing one another.
Coach, it's Joe Linville. Your team actually had a pretty good season. Just talk about the season overall and what you expect in the offseason and what do you do to get ready even for next year?
Sure. I was fortunate enough to have two seniors with me, and they went through the program with me. We started into this journey together 4 years ago. Lexi Miller and Presley Fisher, who I wouldn't trade for the world, and those girls have been kind of the face of the program and what we're going to build upon. Even though we did fall a little bit short there this year, I was expecting a couple more wins, as every coach does. But we had a pretty successful season there, being smallest AAA in the state. We finished up 14-8, and I feel like we let two others slip through our fingers. But, hindsight looking back, there's some changes that we could have made, and we're going to learn from it and live to another day.
Coach, this is Jordan Mounts. Sorry, go ahead, Coach.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
Hey, Coach, this is Jordan Mounts. You were talking about your senior leaders and the girls that you're not going to be having back next year. Talk to us a little bit about what you have coming back next year and what next season looks to hold here. I know this is too early to count right now, but talk to us a little bit about what you're looking at next season.
Next year we should be bringing back 3 starters. One of them started some games for us off and on throughout the season. So we should be bringing back, should have 4 starters that are coming back next year. We're going to have to play a little different style of game next year than what we did this year, but I still look for us to be pretty successful there next year.
Coach, this was kind of a transition year for your program as well as all the programs at Ripley as far as departing the MSAC over a 2-year period. Although you still played a bunch of MSAC schools. Talk about having to work through that transition this year.
Well, we, along with our AD and our administration, we still wanted to keep some of our sectional and regional opponents on our schedule. We didn't want to go into it blind, and we still played Cabell Midland, Spring Valley, Hurricane. We had Woodrow Wilson scheduled as well, but just couldn't get that game made up due to weather, and then with all the cancellations there, about a week and a half, just couldn't get it made up. And then we still kept Parkersburg South and PHS on there to that way we could see what we were dealing with when we got into sectional play.
But it seems like you guys that seems like the good attitude, because you kept those relationships there despite the fact you're not technically in the league anymore, right?
Yes, sir. I've got a great relationship with the majority of those coaches in the MSAC where we were in it, and I've got a lot of respect for those guys. And 4 years ago when we started this process of getting out of the MSAC, all those coaches and ADs and administrators, there was no hard feelings, because when we did it the right way and exited, with class.
Well, let's look at the games next week in AAA Region 4. Of course, Spring Valley lost to Midland tonight, so Midland will host Parkersburg, and Spring Valley will make the trip up to Parkersburg South to take on the Patriots. Should be 2 interesting games.
Yes, sir. Both South and PHS, they're 2 of the top teams in the state. However, that being said, when you get into postseason play, you've got to go out every possession and give it everything you've got. And just because they're sitting at number 2 and 4 in the state, there doesn't mean that Cabell Midland and Spring Valley can't go up there and come out with a victory. Sometimes just a flip of a coin.
Well, Coach Kennedy, we appreciate you spending a little bit of time with us and kind of giving us a perspective kind of on the side of what's going on, at least in your part. And certainly we wish best of luck in the off season to your program, and hopefully your Lady Vikings just get a little stronger, a little tougher, and they'll grow up a little bit and be ready for next year.
Hey, That's exactly right, sir, guys. I appreciate each and every one of you for having me on.
All right. Coach John Kennedy, head coach of the Ripley Viking girls program, and appreciate him spending a little time with us. We're going to take our first break right now. Basketball Friday night in West Virginia made possible in part by financial support from the Dr. Carter G. Woodson Lyceum, the W. Page Pitt School of Journalism and Mass Communications, and WMUL-FM.
Basketball Friday night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
For scores online, all of them in West Virginia, visit basketballnight.com. Does showing up for work at a ballpark or an arena sound good to you? Marshall University and a sports journalism degree from there can get you there. Sports journalism at Marshall is important, it's serious, and it's big business. Sports media and communications careers are some of the most competitive and marketable worldwide in a multi-billion-dollar industry. We'll prepare you to think critically, report accurately, and artfully tell the stories on and off the field or court. If this sounds like you, the Marshall School of Journalism is ready and eager to start your journey. Learn more at marshall.edu/SOJMC. Welcome to Basketball Friday night in West Virginia. We want you to join us online voting this week's poll. You've got till 11:45 tonight, and then we'll share the voting results with you. Last week's question: do you like the current format of seeding teams in sectionals in West Virginia? 63% of you said yes, 37% no. This week's question: should counties be allowed to play and practice during a work stoppage? Tell us what you think. Vote yes or no. Go to basketballnight.com to vote in this week's poll. You'll see the poll on the right-hand side of the page. You've got till 11:45 tonight to vote. And, of course, we'll share all the voting results with you tonight. Congratulations goes out tonight to yet another standout athlete of the week. We'll hear from someone from the Philip Barber Colts tonight. Follow us on Twitter at @hoops_roundup, @hoops_roundup. A shout out to some of our newest Twitter followers this week, including Amy Little, Tyler Spencer, JW, Amelia, Chuck, and Jake Nice. They're part of the Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia family.
This is high school basketball's home for the Mountain State. Basketball Friday night in West Virginia on the Fast Break Sports Network. Now, back to your hosts, Bill Cornwell, Joe Linville, and Ryan Epling.
And Ryan Epling will be joining us shortly. He's been doing
Celebrating.
He's been out doing duties with the Wayne girls basketball team. They were winners in their sectional tonight, and I'm sure Ryan will have plenty to tell us when he gets back here here at the studios. But Jordan Mounts is sitting with us. We're glad to have you, Jordan.
Good to be on here, guys.
And guys, we got a lot of coaches willing to talk tonight because really the boys coaches, for a lot of cases, it looks to me like a lot of them are kind of sitting on the sidelines tonight. Right now, let's go to a guy who's got one of the best teams in the state of West Virginia, and that's Mike Fallon, the head coach of the Parkersburg South Patriots. And Coach, welcome tonight to Basketball Friday night.
Thanks so much for having me.
Coach, now I think didn't we have you for a game tonight, or were you all not playing tonight? What was the story there?
We were off tonight. Our girls played tonight in the sectional championships against Parkersburg.
Okay, got you. Okay, yeah, we're looking at it here. Yeah, you were not on the slate tonight. Well, talk about how the season, the regular season's wrapping up for you here.
You know, this is one of those years that just seems like it went by so fast. I can remember our first game at West Virginia State against Musselman, and now we're to the end. And, you know, it's been a good year for our kids and everything, but now we get to start the second season.
Coach, you had a good, successful season. You've been atop of the rankings and the power rankings and so forth in the latter part of the season. Just your thoughts how, you know, you obviously going into the sectionals, you've got a big target on your back.
You know, we do, and that was one of the things we had talked about earlier in the year. You know, the rankings and that stuff, they really don't mean anything. You know, our goal at the beginning of the season was just to host the section, and that was our biggest goal. And I think that's what we really wanted to accomplish. So, at the end of the year, we've hit a couple bumps in the road. We've been, we played without a starter there against GW and University and Woodrow, and it's allowed some other kids an opportunity to play a little bit that, that may be able to help us down the road.
Hey, Coach, in your sectional, there's only 3 teams. Advantage or disadvantage?
I think you could look at it either way. If you get the bye, you kind of risk not getting any injury in the first round and everything, and I think that just allows you a little extra time to prepare and everything. And then, but on the other side, you could look at it and say, well, we're not playing for a week either. So it's kind of got its good and bad parts to it.
Coach, looking here at your section, you've got Parkersburg and Ripley. You will play the winner of those 2 schools. I'm sure you've faced these 2 earlier in the season. Talk a little bit about what you've seen from both schools and what you expect here coming into the sectional championship.
We played both of them and everything, and and if it would happen to be Parkersburg, it's one of those things that the biggest thing we don't get caught up in the rivalry. The biggest thing is we're playing to go to Charleston. The regular season games may mean a rivalry, but during the tournament, it's a whole different environment and everything. And with Ripley, we played them earlier in the year. They're very young and everything, so we'll kind of have to wait and play whoever comes out of that.
Mike, obviously you all got off to a great start this year and have kept it up, but have there been any points in the season during games, during practices, when you thought, the guys are getting a little bit tired, a little bored, and has it caused you to worry a little bit about things?
No, and that was the biggest. I think maybe getting tired there a couple of weeks ago, we kind of hit that wall. We had played every, for either Thursday, Friday, or Friday, Saturday for about 4 straight weeks, and all the games were competitive, and we had some overtime games and things like that. But the good thing is we've been able to get some rest in, and we got a big win at Woodrow the other day that kind of got us back on track and everything. And the kids the last 2 days have been dialed in at practice really good.
Always a plus when you head into postseason there, Coach. You finished the season, like you said, 19-3. Talk about going into the tournament here with such a strong record, and trying to take that on forth. 19-3, even though that's a great season record. At the same time, you're kind of 0-0 at this point. Kind of when to go on. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. But I think we finished up with the strongest strength of schedule in the state, and that was one of the things at the beginning of the year that we started. We wanted to see a little bit of everything, speed and quickness, teams that kind of grind the games out and that kind of stuff. And we played some overtime games, we played some close games. So the good thing is I think we're going to be prepared for about anything we see, and being at home I think is a huge, huge advantage.
There's no question about that. Coach, best of luck. We appreciate you checking in with us. I know that next week you'll just have to sit around and see what the Vikings and the Big Reds do, and then just kind of roll from there. So best of luck next week.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate what you guys do. I mean, you give high school basketball players, and student athletes a great avenue there that, every Friday that kids can listen in and promote our sport. So thank you guys very much.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Mike Fallon, head coach of the Parkersburg South Patriots, and as he said, they kind of let the girls take the spotlight tonight. And speaking of that, let's talk about the Parkersburg South and Parkersburg High sectional tonight. Let's go to Earl Little from WVVV up in Parkersburg, and
Eric.
Eric Little. What am I talking about? I know Eric. Eric, I'm sorry, man. I butchered you, man. I'm sorry. But, hey,
That's okay.
You had the game tonight, and South gets the win over PHS. Talk about it.
It was a hard-fought game. PHS led by as many as 13 in the second quarter. They took an 11-point lead into the half, but South fought back in the third quarter. They roared out to a 10-0 run to start the third. That came within the first 2 minutes of the quarter. And from there on, it was nip and tuck until about the 3-minute mark in the fourth quarter when Parkersburg South salted it away at the free throw line. Patriots come away with a 68-59 win. To win the sectional championship, they'll host Spring Valley in the regional co-final on Tuesday. Devin Hefner picked up 16 of her 22 points in the second half, went 10 of 12 from the free throw line. down the stretch for Parkersburg South. So basically the senior and leading scorer on that team doing what she's done all year for the Patriots, and that's stepping up to make big plays in big moments and get to the line when South needed somebody to get to the line.
Eric, it's amazing the success that both of the programs that have had this winter at PSHS, and talk about how the school community up there is just handling this, because you just have two outstanding basketball programs going at it in both Coach Fallon's boys and this girls program.
Well, we had a stretch, I believe it was late January into early February, where the schedule worked out to where there was a home game, I think maybe 4 or 5 different nights in about 2 consecutive weeks at the Rotterdam Athletic Center, and a lot of the same folks were out there 2 weeks in a row, nightly. It seemed like it was almost like a mini Olympics of basketball at Parkersburg South. I think you threw some freshman games in there and some JV games, and I think they hosted maybe 34 games in about 10 days at the Rotterdam Athletic Center. It was something absurd like that. And the fans have come out for them all year long. The building was full tonight. Of course, the opponent had a lot to do with that, being PHS. But this South girls team won tonight's win was their 13th straight. The boys had a stretch this year where they won 16 straight. And when you got both of them rolling like that, they both have identical 19-3 records now. It's a banner year for basketball at a school that already has a lot of banner years for basketball.
Hey, Eric, this is Joe Linville. You know, you talk about this rivalry. How does the community of Parkersburg embrace this? I mean, you know, you're across town, but, you know, a lot of these people know each other. They've grown up with each other, but yet they throw all that away when they hit the hard court.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can tell. I mean, it's not a blood feud per se, but at the same time, they both very badly want to win when they're on the floor. And it brings an interesting dynamic to this sectional final. This isn't a winner-go-home game. You know, both of these teams will play again, but you certainly don't want to have to get on a school bus. And that's what Parkersburg High is going to have to do. And it's intense. The officials blew the whistle a lot tonight. I think tonight's game resembled an Elks hoop shoot. And, I think what it was, though, was the fact that they all wanted to control the game and keep things from getting out of hand early on. And, you know, so you saw a lot of contact, you saw a lot of free throws, you saw a lot of stuff that was called that maybe should have been called. It was tough to stay consistent when you're calling so many fouls, but I don't know what would have ensued if they hadn't have called so many fouls.
I can tell you from what you just said, from personal experience, experiencing both Parkersburg and Parkersburg South, there is no love lost. As a matter of fact, I've sat with a bunch of PSHS people who love telling PHS jokes. Yes, this is true. This is true. So I'm sure they do the same thing over on the other side of town. They probably tell PSHS jokes. So, you know, that just shows you the intensity of the rivalry. Yeah, now you talked about Parkersburg down there, the Big Reds. Yeah, they've got a tough road to hoe themselves, because they got to come down to Ona to take on a strong, tough, tall Cabell Midland team.
Well, I got a couple of those jokes myself. I don't know if you've known what's going on with PHS football. But the Big Reds have some ongoing renovations at Stadium Field that basically have left the visitors' bleachers condemned, so I refer to their venue as half a Stadium Field. Yeah, and that seems to go over well on the south side.
Do you talk about that on the radio? Because I'm sure your broadcast is, you know, the whole town can hear it now.
Yeah, I do. I do a morning show in the day job where both fans listen. But you know what? You gotta give the home fans a little sugar, and that's what I try to do. But to go back to your original question, though, PHS is going to have a tough test. They're long themselves. They've got some length in Bree Wilson and Shaylee Kirby, who's an excellent shooter from beyond the arc. She went off for 5 of their 7 threes tonight. So that's something that Cabell Midland's going to have to defend. So it seems like it's going to be length versus length in that co-final.
Well, Eric, as always, it's a pleasure to have you on with us, and best of luck. I know you'll be on the air with Spring Valley and Parkersburg South next week, and should be an interesting regional final. Thanks for being with us.
You guys gonna ask me about the triple overtime game I called the other night?
I didn't know. Wasn't aware about that. My goodness.
Yeah, I know you had Coach Fallon on just a moment ago, but South beat Woodrow in 3 overtimes.
Right.
I still don't have my legs under me after that one.
I'm gonna say your voice is probably
from
tired.
Beckley.
Yeah, I go say your voice is probably shot too, among other things. I can understand that.
Yeah, it just goes to show you how much great basketball there is at the state right now. You have Morgantown and Martinsburg in 4 overtimes the other night, South and Woodrow in 3 on the boys' side. So it's we're getting to the nitty-gritty, and the basketball is showing it.
All right, Eric, thanks a lot, and like I said, good luck to PSHX next week. That certainly always enjoy hearing from Eric. Joe, time for our break.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia is made possible in part by financial support from the Dr. Carter G. Woodson Lyceum, the W. Page Pitt School of Journalism and Mass Communications, and WMUL-FM.
This is break number 2 here on Basketball Friday Night.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
If you love basketball, then there's only one place to be on Friday nights after the game. It's Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Streaming video live from the studios at Marshall University, visit basketballnight.com for video, audio, and the Basketball Friday Night scoreboard. Many places to listen and watch Basketball Friday Night. We're on great radio stations throughout the Mountain State. Just click on our affiliates page at the bottom of our website for the station nearest you. You can also watch our high-definition video on YouTube. Go to basketballnight.com. Just click to watch. We're on Facebook Live. Go to the RSN Sports Facebook page, and you can watch us on Facebook Live. And on Twitter, of course, we're on Periscope. You can watch us live there at @hoops_roundup, at @hoops_roundup. If you have Suddenlink cable, we're on Network West Virginia statewide, and if you're in the Huntington region, Huntington Tri-State, we're on Comcast Channel 25. If you're watching right now, you see all these great pictures that you've sent in to us. We appreciate that. Send your pictures to us on Twitter at @hoops_roundup, at @hoops_roundup. You can also send them to us by Facebook. Go to the RSN Sports Facebook page. Send your pictures there. You can also send them by email. Email your pictures to scores@basketballnight.com. Give us your best pics of your team and their fans. Become a part of Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Coming up tonight, you'll hear from the new standout athlete of the week from the Philip Barber Colts. A shout out tonight to Gunnar Murphy, Mike Jones, and Trey Rogers following us on Twitter. This is Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia.
Celebrating high school basketball around the Mountain State. You're listening to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia on the Fast Break Sports Network. Now, back to your hosts, Bill Cornwell, Joe Linville, and Ryan Epling.
All right, we're 33 minutes into our first of our 3 hours tonight on Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Bill Cornwell and Joe Linville and Jordan Mounts, and hopefully joined sometime in the near future by Ryan Epling.
We sent a helicopter to
Wayne. He's taking his own
right.
sweet time. I think he's arriving in Huntington via Beckley.
He'll be here maybe 11:55, but he'll be here sometime.
He'll be in time for the rap party. Yeah, that's basically it. But hey, the gang's all here and we're getting it done. Right. So, and of course, our big story tonight, or our big feature tonight, is girls sectional night, and it is certainly time to look at those scores, because all except for one, we have all the scores in them. We have the finals, and we can start setting some of these matchups. And Jordan's going to handle the scores. This is the Marshall University Sports Journalism, basketballnight.com scoreboard, Jordan.
And we're looking at that scoreboard right now. Region 1, Section 1, AAA, girls basketball. Wheeling Park, the Patriots, taking on John Marshall Monarchs. Final score of that one, 63 for Wheeling Park. The Patriots walk away over the Monarchs, 63-46. Our next game down, we've got Region 3, Section 1, George Washington, the Patriots taking on the Red Dragons of St. Albans High School. 59-52, the Patriots walk away victorious in that one. The Governor's team, Greenbrier East, the Spartans versus Woodrow Wilson, Flying Eagles. 63-67, the Flying Eagles of Woodrow Wilson walk away victorious over the Spartans. Region 4, Section 1, Parkersburg South, the Patriots going to take on the Parkersburg Big Reds. Rivalry game right there, 68-59, the Patriots of Parkersburg South over the Big Reds of Parkersburg High School. Region 4, Section 2, still AAA, Cabell Midland, the Knights taking on the Timberwolves of Spring Valley, 51-45, the final score in that one. Moving on to AA, Region 1, Section 1, Frankfort High School, the Falcons taking on the Kaiser Golden Tornado. It's 56-46, the final score in that one. Region 1, Section 2, North Marion, the Huskies taking on the Polar Bears of Fairmont Senior. 60-52, Huskies take it down the Polar Bears in that one. Region 2, Section 2, Nicholas County, the Grizzlies, Lady Grizzlies taking on the Lady Raiders of Roane County. 71-34. Big time deficit right there for the Raiders. Region 4, Section 1, the Wayne Pioneers, where our co-host Ryan Epling is still partying right now. 52-39. The Pioneers walk away victorious over the Generals of Winfield High School. Moving on to Single A, you've got Wheeling Central Catholic. The Maroon Knights walking away victorious over the Cameron Dragons. 57-32, the final score in that one. Region 1, Section 2, Magnolia, the Blue Eagles over the Ritchie County Rebels. 58-34. The one girls game that we do not have a score for yet, Pocahontas County Warriors versus the Charleston Catholic Irish. If anybody has that score, please tweet us at Basketball Friday Night. Moving on down, Region 3, Section 2, Summers County, the Bobcats walk away victorious over the Meadowbridge Wildcats, 61-35 that one. Finally, Region 4, Section 2, St. Joe, the Irish walking away. Huge win right there for the Irish, 93-29 over the Sherman Tide. Final score, the Logan Wildcats walking away over the Lincoln County Panthers, 42-30. That's another AA score in Region 4, Section 2. And on the boys' side of things, you have one final score for us right now. The Independence Patriots walking away with the win over the Liberty Raleigh Raiders. 53-46 final score in that game, Region 3, Section 1.
Thanks a lot, Jordan. We appreciate those scores.
I was just going to say, and that's a look at your Marshall University Sports Journalism, basketballnight.com scoreboard.
I didn't have the key read on that one.
Didn't have the read on that one, so thanks a lot for handling that, Joe. And right now, let's go to the phones. Dennis Hudson, the head coach of the Bridgeport girls team, the Indians. And, of course, Dennis, we kind of previewed what's going on. You guys are in state of limbo right now, are you not?
Unfortunately, we are. Our superintendent, Harrison County, has decided that since the teachers are still on the walkout, that us and Lincoln High School were supposed to meet in the sectional final are not allowed to play, and we are shut down. We can't practice or play at this time. And, the major problem that I have with this situation is if all 55 counties had said, okay, we're shutting down all athletic activities, I wouldn't be happy about it, but I could live with that. But we're severely penalizing 20 girls from Harrison County, and the other 54 counties are going ahead and allow their girls to play in sectional tournament play. And I just think I'm united behind the teachers. I'm a retired teacher. My wife is still currently a teacher. And I understand the mess that the state's in regarding education and the lack of commitment by the legislature. But to do this to our kids, I think, is unjust. And so, we're trying to get it resolved, but I don't know if that's going to happen or not.
Coach, my question to you was going to be how frustrated are you, but you answered that question. Now, what do you do as a coach to try to persuade the superintendent to change his mind to allow you to play possibly this game, maybe even tomorrow night?
Well, we haven't been able to persuade him in that area. Now, I do have some parents have filed an injunction trying to get a petition to force Harrison County to allow us to play. That has not been reviewed yet by the judge. The judge could rule in favor of the superintendent, and if he does, then Lincoln and Bridgeport girls basketball seasons are over. Okay. If he rules in our favor, then hopefully we would be allowed then to go ahead and play the game, which would take it out of the superintendent's hands.
Do you have
in that situation?
Do you have any idea when the judge might rule? Will it be tomorrow, or will it be possibly Monday?
Tonight or tomorrow morning. We were hoping. Technically, the SSAC said our sectional final needed to be completed by tomorrow. But I think under these extenuating circumstances, there might be some flexibility there. Because technically we've qualified for our regional because we've made the sectional final. But if neither one of us are able to play the sectional at all, then we forfeit the regional game to Nicholas and Roane County.
Yeah, Coach, you were talking
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, Coach, you were talking about how the SSAC would possibly be looking at giving you all an extension to finish your sectional and everything like that. But talk to us a little bit about, is that an advantage or a disadvantage, or how does that actually come into play in your preparation for possibly looking at going further than this into regionals?
Well, it's a little bit of a disadvantage because we haven't been allowed to practice. We weren't allowed to practice yesterday or today, have any contact with the kids whatsoever. We would even be willing to play on a non-school site if that would, help people feel a little better about the situation. We're not here trying to offend anybody. Some of our girls today stood on the picket line with Bridgeport teachers as a sign of solidarity. And so all we would like let's stand up for these kids. Why should our kids suffer this life lesson, supposedly, that they're being given, compared to the other 54 counties?
Well, Coach, it sounds like...
So that doesn't make us 55 united when you do a situation like that.
Yeah.
And I told the superintendent today, I understand, okay, your position trying to keep unity. But all I'm telling you is if my kids are allowed to play, I am going to coach them. They're my girls. I spend 52 weeks a year with these kids through weightlifting, all season, 3-week period, and 4 months almost into this time period. So they're my kids, okay? And I'm not going to allow anybody else to coach my kids.
Well, Coach, we love getting your perspective on this, and we hope you guys get back on the court because it really would be unfair for you and your opponent to be just basically perfunctory out of the regionals next week. So we certainly hope you get on the court.
Well, also, and one other thing to add, they allowed our wrestlers yesterday to go to the state tournament in Huntington.
Right. So
they're participating again tomorrow. So now, what's the difference here? Our regional game gives us a chance to go to the state tournament. So I think it should only be fair. And then here's the next question. Let's say this gets resolved in the next 10 days. The boys still have a little bit of a window,
right?
And they end up having the boys tournament, and kids from Harrison County boys get to play in the state tournament, but Harrison County girls didn't have that opportunity. To me, then it becomes a Title IX issue.
I think you have a good point there, Coach.
Yeah, Coach, I hope you get it resolved, and I hope the judge rules in your favor because I feel like that's the only fair situation for both teams.
I appreciate that.
Exactly. I think we all agree. Let's get on the court and decide it on the court, not in the courts. But best of luck, Coach. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the time.
That's interesting comments there from Coach Dennis Hudson, and you can tell, guys, how passionate he is about this.
Oh, absolutely.
You can hear it in his voice.
If you spend that much time with your team like he has, it absolutely you have that emotional connection to everything.
And right now, before we take our third break, let's bring on the head coach of the Nitro Wildcats, Coach Kevin Missilli. And Coach, welcome to Basketball Friday Night.
Thanks for having me.
Coach, this is Joe Linville. First of all, congratulations on an outstanding season. you're 18-3 as you roll off into the sectional play. But if you get through the sectionals, your thoughts, looking down the road to the regionals, because I think that's going to be a very tough region to get out of.
Yeah, it is. And actually, we're 19-3 now. We won the other night over St. Albans to finish the regular season. But, yeah, the sectional is no walk in the park either with Sissonville and Winfield and Wayne and Polka and Point. But if we are fortunate enough to make it through and get to a sectional final and hopefully win that, it's going to be a difficult task. You got Chapmanville, Mingo, Logan all down there that are ranked in the top 10 in the state, all with big-time players on their team. And, it's a shame that, probably 5 of the top 11 or 12 teams in AA are in our section or regional, and only 2 are going to be able to advance. But if you make it through there, I think you got a pretty good shot of going deep into the state tournament also. I think whoever makes it through is going to probably be no worse than probably a 5 seed and could be as high as a 2 or 3 with Chapmanville in our group also. So we're excited about the opportunity.
Coach, do you feel like your team has kind of flown under the radar this year? I mean, we've not heard a whole lot about Nitro. I've actually got to see you play a couple times, but you guys, you got some talent on the team. You guys hustle, but you guys just not been up there at the top of the polls like maybe we feel like you should have been.
Yeah, and I think part of that is just the history and tradition of Nitro. There's been years in the past we've been very good. We've gone to a couple of state tournaments back in the late 90s in AAA, but traditionally we just haven't been up there year after year, and I think sometimes that tends to hurt some of the votes that you get throughout the state. So, yeah, I mean, 19-3, I sort of did expect to be a little bit higher, but like I try to tell the kids, it's sort of one game at a time. And what we care about is what we do here from here on out. And it's a new season. If we get through the section and fortunate enough to get to the region, it'll all play out. And at the end of the day, if we do what we should do, and I think we should be very competitive in both of these sectionals and regionals if we get there, I think we'll play it out on court and we'll be able to prove our point that way.
Of course, Coach, your team will play the winner of the Wayne Nitro or the Wayne Polka game on Monday night. You'll face them on Wednesday night, and then you'll just have to wait and see how the bracket on the lower end rolls out before you face your foe for a sectional championship next Friday night.
Yes, and both Wayne and Polka, we've had games with them this year. We've fortunately have come out on the winning side of 2 Polka games and 1 Wayne game, both by somewhere in the range of about 20 points on all those. But halftime of the first Polka game, we were actually down 4 points and ended up winning by about 21, 22. And when we went up to Wayne the first time, it was a 4-point game to our advantage and opened it up to about a 21-point game. Sometimes we catch these lulls that we feel like we can put teams away at any given time, and we have had a lot of ability to put the ball in the hole in a lot of games, and we tend to score pretty high point totals, but we also have those lulls where we look like we don't know how to play basketball. So we're trying to hope that we get through those, and through 22 games, I think we've done a pretty good job so far.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you spending a little time with us tonight, and it's been a great season so far. Congratulations on that, but I know you want to keep it on going next week, so best of luck against either Polka or Wayne, whoever you play there in the middle of next week.
All right, well, I appreciate you guys having us on.
All right, Kevin Vasili, head coach of the Nitro boys basketball team, had an outstanding season so far, 19-win season, and they look like they are ready to roll into the postseason. Right now, it's time for break 3. Be back in just a couple of moments. This is Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
For scores online, all of them in West Virginia, visit basketballnight.com. Thanks for joining us, and a shout out to some of our newest Twitter followers, including David O'Leary, the Pawpaw Pirates, Drew Skeens, and Amy Little. Thank you so much for joining us and being part of the Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia family. Jaden Lindsay, Jacob Clark, Cole Honecker, Sydney Nestor, Isaiah Morgan, Deja Busby, Drew Williamson, Ashton Maxwell, Casey Henchman, Whitney Sampson. And we're going to have a new person join that group of people from the Philip Barber Colts. What they all have in common is they were selected by Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia as the Standout Athlete of the Week. If you have someone remarkable on your team, an athlete that made an outstanding play, you can nominate your team's players to become the Basketball Night Standout Athlete of the Week. Each week we consider nominees based on leadership, performance on the court, academic performance, and involvement in the community and volunteer work. Every Friday night, we select a Standout Athlete of the Week. Head over to our website, basketballnight.com, and click on the Standout Athlete of the Week tab. Fill out the nomination form. We'll take it from there. We want you to nominate your team's athletes. Check it out at basketballnight.com. Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. West Virginia's basketball voice. Don't forget our poll question tonight. It's on the right-hand side of our page. Should counties be allowed to play and practice during a work stoppage? Tell us yes or no. Visit basketballnight.com. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Stay up to date on your favorite teams. Check out basketballnight.com. Now, back to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia with Bill Cornwell, Joe Linville, and Ryan Epling.
It's about 9, almost 8 till 10 o'clock, near the end of our first hour of Basketball Friday Night on this, the 23rd of February, 2018. Bill Cornwell, Jordan Mounts with us, and, of course, Joe Linville. And this is girls sectional night, girls sectional final night, and we'll be getting back to the scoreboard just momentarily. But right now, we bring on a young man with an interesting story because he's had quite an eventful basketball season, to say the least, and that is Isaiah Lester, a senior player at Westside High School. And Jordan, you kind of told us the story off the air about Isaiah. I want to relate it to the audience.
Yeah, Isaiah, he's a guard from Westside High School, senior guard, and unfortunately, a couple of weeks ago, he collapsed after a basketball game. And Isaiah joins us now. Isaiah, it's been a kind of a whirlwind these past few weeks. So talk to us just a little bit about how you're doing. First of all, how you're doing personally, how your health is doing, and then second of all, just kind of take us through what's happened the past couple of weeks.
Most of all, Tuesday I went to Morgantown, got a couple tests run on me. Everything come back good, but I put a loop recorder in, which is like a heart monitor. He put it in, but he told me how to play, so God bless.
Yeah, Isaiah, you had with your heart condition and everything like that, you had to miss a few games, and that's always hard to do your senior year. So just talk to us a little bit about you did finally get to return to the court here. I believe it was against Mingo Central there a little while ago. So if you don't care, just talk to us a little bit about what it was like, coming back after that scare that you had there a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, it felt great coming in from Mingo Central. I mean, it was a great environment, and just hearing the fans screaming for me, it felt amazing, just knowing that I had all the support from both sides. Actually, really for me, playing for me and stuff, so I was blessed.
Yeah, like you said, just coming back here, it is your senior year. Westside, very talented team that has a chance to make a good run. So talk to us a little bit about just what you're planning, what to expect, and are you full strength, full health, ready to go here for the sectional regional tournament coming up here next week?
Yeah, but my coach has got a restriction on me. I'm just playing minutes here and there, but I feel healthy. I feel good, and I'll be able to play Tuesday against Wyoming East.
Yeah, Isaiah, just playing against Wyoming East, I'm sure that's a rivalry game for Westside, an in-county rivalry game, if I'm not seriously mistaken. So talk to us just a little bit against I guess that is the sectional tournament. So talk to us a little bit about the rest of the team. And you are a senior. I'm guessing you're also one of the captains, one of the leaders of this team. Tell us what you've told your guys to get them ready, especially here for these next few games.
Well, last time we played Wyoming East, they beat us, and I told our guys, I said, hey, we want to go out and make it to the state tournament. We don't want to get beat in the first round of the section. I told them, let's just play hard and play rough. With Corey Hatfield, he's a dominant presence down in on the inside. We got Shane Jenkins, elite scorer. Jacob Ellison scored the ball well. We go deep in our bench. Travis Cooks, he helps a lot. He's a good player. Elijah Pewitt, he's down right now, but I'm expecting him to be back 2 days. But it's going to be a good game.
Well, listen, Isaiah, we kind of think you're a medical miracle that you've had the hardships you've had, and it sounds like that you haven't let them slow you down. You jump right on it, because you hear about athletes, and a lot of times when they come back from an illness, an injury, or something as serious as a heart condition, they're very cautious, very hesitant. It sounds to me like you've gone pretty full bore. So congratulations to you, and man, we hope you keep healthy and keep at it, and let's see if you can just keep on rolling to Charleston, my friend.
I appreciate it.
All right, Isaiah Lester, senior player at Westside High School. Man, what a story, Jordan! And you had the most of the information on that, and sounds like he's got a great spirit about him.
Yeah, he did. Tug Valley High School, my old high school. We faced Westside there not too long ago there, and we did a little thing there before the ball game. He came down, and we did recognize him and his family, and did have prayer with him before the ball game. So just a great family, a great kid, and all of us are definitely hoping for the best for him.
You always like to see that when the visiting team gets involved. That makes these players feel so much better about the situation that, you guys welcomed him to the floor and prayed for him and so forth.
Well, that's our first hour here on Basketball Friday Night. We'll be back just a couple of moments with hour number 2. And we're going to have all those sectional scores. Hopefully we'll have that. We had one score that we were waiting for. So hopefully we will check and see, and hopefully we'll have a few boys scores as well. So
coming up in our next hour is Josh Lunsford, head coach Braxton County, Dave St. Peter, WRRR in St. Mary's, and we've even got Big Daddy Ryan Epling.
Well, he needs to get here. This is Basketball Friday Night on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Every Friday night from 9 to midnight, we're the home for high school basketball in the Mountain State. This is Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Special thanks to all of our affiliates carrying Basketball Friday Night tonight, including Network West Virginia. If you have Suddenlink, you can find us statewide on Network West Virginia. You can listen on great radio stations throughout the Mountain State, including 103.7 Jack FM, WQWV in Fisher, the Valley's Watchdog, 1600 AM, WKKX Wheeling, 1370 AM, WVLY Moundsville, Jackson County's home for Southern Gospel, Singing News Radio, 92.5 FM, WTHMLP, Ravenswood, Ripley, Knights Radio, 91.5 FM, WRSG in Middleburn, Talk Radio, WRNR, Martinsburg, 740 AM, 106.5 FM, Classic Hits 106 WHFI Linside, 106.7 FM, 95 The Sports Fox, WVES Charleston, 950 AM, The Voice of the Coalfields, 101.9 FM and 1290 AM, WVOW in Logan, Light Rock 93R, WRRR St. Mary's, 93.9 FM, The Ticket 102.3 FM, WMTD in Hinton. The greatest oldies of all time, 98.5 FM and 101.5 FM, WQAZLP Edmond, Beckley. Tune for You, Yap Radio 101.7 FM WYAPLP Clay, and Marshall University's flagship station, The Cutting Edge, 88.1 FM WMUL in Huntington. Cable subscribers can find us in the Huntington region on Comcast Channel 25. We're also on RSN Sports Facebook page on Facebook Live.
A proud supporter of Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia, the Dr. Carter G. Woodson Lyceum honors the father of black history and serves as a forum for issues of importance to Marshall University and the tri-state area. For more information about the Lyceum's major events during February, visit marshall.edu/Woodson Lyceum. That's one word, WOODSONLYCEUM. And follow its tweets about an interactive presentation by a Carter G. Woodson relative, Dr. Craig Woodson, who will teach children how to make drums, as is done in Ghana, on Wednesday, February 28th. The Lyceum is a joint program of the John Deaver Drinko Academy and the School of Journalism and Mass Communications at Marshall University.
Welcome back to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. To join tonight's program, call 855-78-HOOPS. That's 855-784-6677. Follow us on Twitter @hoops_roundup for all the scores all the time. And visit basketballnight.com for a comprehensive look at schedules and standings for every team in the state. Stay tuned. Another hour of Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia begins right now.
And welcome back to Basketball Friday Night here in the studios of WMUL and Bill Cornwell, Jordan Mounts, and for some reason, Ryan Epling is on the phone on hold. I don't know what's going on there, but we'll get to Ryan here in a few minutes. But we know you're here for scores, and let's take a look at the Marshall University Sports Journalism BasketballNight.com scoreboard. In girls sectional finals, we have all the scores in from across the state and all the games that were played tonight. In AAA, it was Wheeling Park over John Marshall, 63-46. George Washington, the Patriots, down the Lady Red Dragons, 59-52. It was Woodrow Wilson over Greenbrier East, 67-63. Parkersburg South down crosstown rival Parkersburg, 68-59. It was Cabell Midland downing and defeating the Spring Valley Timberwolves tonight, 51-45. Frankfort over Kaiser, 56-46. It was Fairmont Senior falling to North Marion tonight, 60-52. Nicholas County defeats Roane County, 71-34. It was the Wayne Pioneers over the Winfield Generals, 52-39. Wheeling Central over Cameron tonight, 57-32. It was Magnolia downing Ritchie County, 58-34. Charleston Catholic, this is a final, defeats Pocahontas County, 27-25. That is a final score. Meadowbridge falls to Summers County tonight, 61-35. St. Joe, the Lady Irish, defeats Sherman tonight, 93-29. And Lincoln County falls to the Logan Wildcats by a score of 42-30. We have a couple scores in. Only one final on the boys' side. I think a lot of these games may have been postponed or even canceled tonight. But Independence, the Patriots, defeat Liberty Raleigh 53-46. And we still have a third quarter score in that Riverview-Pikeview game. And it's 38-37 in favor of Riverview. And that's a look at the Marshall University Sports Journalism BasketballNight.com scoreboard.
All right, let's go back to the phones. And with us is Josh Lunsford, who is the head coach of the Braxton County Eagles. And, Coach, welcome to Basketball Friday Night.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, Coach, this is a night of preparation for you guys. I know you're looking ahead to a big week next week.
Yeah, absolutely it is. I mean, we're looking at tomorrow night, trying to figure out who we're going to play on Tuesday. And obviously we're going to be down and watching that game. And we've played them both. We've played both of them twice this season. And we're going to see what we can do. I mean, hopefully things haven't changed and we're able to pull out the win. But if it isn't, then, we see what we have to adjust on Monday come practice.
Coach, you've had a successful season, 18-4, and you're the number 1 seed in your section. And like you said, you know those teams, Clay County and Roane County, probably pretty well, as they are the number 4 and 5 seed, and you'll play the winner of that game. Like you said, they play tomorrow night.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, both of those teams are in our conference. We see them, twice a year at least, and the thing that we know already is that both of them are playing well. Both of them are very well coached, and we're trying to go in and we're just trying to continue to what we've done all year, and that's all we can do as far as the team goes. And like I say, we'll be down there tomorrow watching and seeing what we have to adjust, if we need to adjust anything on our side for Tuesday.
Of course, on the other side of the bracket, Lewis County takes on Herbert Hoover, and the winner of that game will play Nicholas County, and then hopefully you'll get the winner of that game next Friday night.
Well, that's what we're hoping for. That's our whole goal with all this. It's a blessing being able to get the bye on this first round, and it's something that we haven't known yet. Not something I haven't known as the head coach. So. It's a blessing to be able to rest these young men and wait until this until we it's a blessing to see who we get to play. Normally we know first round that we're going to go in, and the last 4 or 5 years we've known who we're going to play the first season or the first round, and it's nice to be able to have that night off, I guess is the best way to say it.
Coach, it's a good chance, and of course, the top seed and the other is Nicholas County, and you split a game with them, and you actually played them back-to-back in a couple close games. Your thought on the Grizzlies?
Hey, listen, that Nicholas County team is one of the most talented teams we're going to see all year, and when I say that, a lot of people kind of take that lightly. I remember a game in the Waco Center this year. We were playing, and Nicholas County was playing Bridgeport, and I heard a couple of Bridgeport parents kind of snickering because Bridgeport was up 15 points at the beginning of the fourth quarter, and they said, "Well, it's going to be a blowout." And I kind of laughed because I've seen this team before. I know what they're capable of. They're never out of a ball game. They're extremely talented. Man, they can score points in bunches, and they ended up coming down and losing on the last, the last second. I think they lost by 3 that game, and ended up making up all that difference. I think it went 6 for 8 from the 3-point line in that quarter. And that's the type of team you're dealing with against Nicholas. I mean, they're extremely talented. They've got all these talented athletes, and all you can do is show up and play them. Play defense on them, and hope your guys are there ready to bring everything that they've got that evening. And if you're not, hey, listen, it's going the other way.
Coach Jordan Mounts here. You got the number 1 seed. You've got the bye in the tournament. Just talk to us a little bit about what you're going to do with that extra amount of time that you're allotted there, having that bye week. What do you do with your team to make sure that they're ready here to face the winner of Clay County and Roane County there on the 27th?
Well, the very first thing we did is we had games on Monday night and Tuesday night. We had our conference championship on Monday night against Ravenswood, and turned right around on Tuesday and played Charleston Catholic. And those are both 2 pretty talented teams. And the very first thing I did was give the boys off on Wednesday, and it's something that I've never done as head coach. I mean, this is the first year that I've had the luxury to be able to look at these group of kids that I have and be able to give them a day off to rest. And when you get late in the season, you've got a bunch of kids that are nursing sore knees and are nursing sore ankles and those kind of things. And that's the first thing we did. I gave them Wednesday off, and we came in Thursday and today and was able to basically work on doing us. I mean, that was our first thing. Is we have certain things that we're working on this time of year that we had the luxury of being able to come in with not knowing who we're going to play, and so we didn't have to worry about who it was. We didn't have to game plan. We didn't have to do anything, and we could just work on things that we wanted to do. That's the first thing. So Monday's our big practice. Monday's the day when we know who we're going to play and what we've got to prepare for on Tuesday.
Well, Josh, we appreciate you spending a little time with us, man. You've had a great regular season, but as they say, it's 0-0 now. It's almost like all
a new season.
And it's a new season, and basically everything you've worked for 3 months, it's now at risk. So best of luck next week, my friend.
I appreciate it. You know, that's what we told the boys. We told them that, you know, I worked with a man that basically taught me pretty well everything I need to know about coaching, or everything I've known about coaching. Is Rick Frame was up here for Braxton for many years, and Rick always said, he said, these are always practice games. You know, you've got 22 practice games every year, and none of it matters. You know, you can be undefeated, or you can be, you know, a 3-win team whenever you come into this postseason, and it's all about peaking at the right time, and that's what we've tried to do all year, is get these boys to peak at the right time, and continue to press and want to improve every night, and that's what been our goal all season.
Josh Lunsford, head coach of the Braxton County Eagles. They'll be going into boys AA sectional play next week. Appreciate him being with us. And right now, we go to our missing cohort, the Big Daddy himself, the main host of this show, Ryan Epling. And where in the heck are you, my friend?
Well, I am currently about 2 minutes away from walking into the studio. With you.
Good.
So, I will be there shortly, but no, I actually, Wayne tonight is a big night for Wayne girls basketball, winning the sectional tournament. And by the way, the doors are locked. I go there. But anyway, winning the sectional tournament, big win over Winfield, and just seeing what that meant for that community, and watching a Wayne team cut down the net. That's the first time I've ever watched the Wayne team cut down the net.
Right.
And it's just, you know, it was a special night out there, and I got to kind of take that in and enjoy that. And it was just, a great night.
I was going to say they never had to get the scissors out of the drawer at Wayne to cut nets down. Maybe they didn't know where to find them. So I'm glad that happened.
They were ready to go tonight.
Awesome.
They had the ladder set up. They were ready to go.
Well, that's amazing, and I know you'll have some more to tell us when you get in here momentarily. But congratulations to the Pioneers, and what a story and what a role that they are on. What a role!
22 straight wins now. They lost the second game of the season against George Washington by 3 in the Barbara J. Marone key player shootout at Tulsa High School. And, then they were able to come back and, they've won 22 in a row now, 23-1 on the season.
Look at this. This is modern technology at its finest.
And he's actually talking to us on the phone when he's in the studio saying, just get out of the shot. we'll let you on shortly.
I need to get a chair here eventually, right?
Yeah, you will get a chair, maybe. Maybe.
I'm going to kick him off, okay?
But good story about Wayne, and congratulations to them. And we joke, but really happy for Wade Williamson, and I know what a struggle it's been. Both, but Wayne's been. That's a football school. Everybody, it's a football school.
Not right now.
And never has been given credit. There have been good individual basketball players at Wayne High School over the years. Mm-hmm. Been some darn good ones, but they've never been able to get it either boys or girls side as a team. Well, girls side, they got it going, and they got it going big time now. So congratulations to them, and now they will get a chance to host a regional final next week. And I would say, if you're in Wayne, West Virginia, you better get there early, because you ain't going to get a seat if you don't get there early, because I know the way Pioneer fans are, and they will come out in droves to support this one, because it's almost like in football. It's time to circle the wagons for the Pioneers.
That is
of Wayne High School.
That's their favorite slogan.
Well,
circle the wagons.
We got to credit some of our TV brethren for that one, but that is very much the way it's going to be. We're going to take another break right now. Our first break here in hour number 2. We will be back. More coaches, more callers, more scores. You're listening to Basketball Friday Night on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
For scores online, all of them in West Virginia, visit basketballnight.com. The Marshall University Sports Journalism degree is designed for you to find a job to put your knowledge and training to work after graduation. The program allows for students to concentrate in one of 3 exciting areas: print, public relations, or broadcasting. Our curriculum features skill-based courses and prioritizes hands-on real-life experiences that not only expose the students' work to the public, but also to sports journalism professionals who are often willing to provide crucial feedback and career-launching advice. Marshall has 15 varsity teams that afford sports journalism majors the opportunities to cover them in any media format, including text, online, photo, radio, and video. Hands-on experiences come through Marshall's student-powered media, the Parthenon, WMUL Radio, and Herd TV, as well as communications campaigns, off-campus internships, and an expansive alumni network in all areas of expertise. The Marshall University School of Journalism is ready and eager to help you start your sports media career. Learn more about the exciting possibilities by visiting marshall.edu/SOJMC. Thanks for joining us tonight. This is Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Join us online for this week's poll question. And the question, should counties be allowed to play and practice during a work stoppage? Tell us what you think. Vote yes or no. Go to basketballnight.com and you'll find the poll question on the right-hand side of the page. You've got till 11:45 tonight. We'll share the results at the end of the show this evening. Shout out to some of our newest Twitter followers, including Christian Baskin, David O'Leary, and the Paw Paw Pirates. Thank you for being part of the basketball family.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return. This is high school basketball's home for the Mountain State. Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia on the Fast Break Sports Network. Now, back to your hosts, Bill Cornwell, Joe Linville, and Ryan Epling.
Feels nice to have a seat again, guys. Welcome back to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Ryan Epling, so happy to be here and so happy to have you with us as well, along with Joe Linville, Jordan Mounts. Bill Cornwell will rejoin us a little bit later on. Of course, our resident referee, Bo Anderson, is lurking around the studios tonight.
So. He thought he'd come in and get on early, and we still got him on hold.
Yeah, we've got him on hold away from here. But in just a couple of minutes, we will talk with Dave St. Peter, WRRR, about the Magnolia-Ritchie County girls game, and we'll talk with Michael Jebbia, head coach of the Wheeling Park boys basketball squad. But right now, and it's a nice time to just kind of jump right in here, it's time to introduce you to our Standout Athlete of the Week. This week's Standout Athlete of the Week is Cole Whitted, who is from Philip Barber High School. He's a young man who started playing basketball for the Colts as a sophomore, and he said that scoring and rebounding obviously is something that he said is something that he's been able to pick up on. He's averaging a double-double though, and we'll talk more about him specifically in a moment. But Joe, for Philip Barber, that's a basketball program that it kind of fluctuates. That's one that seems to have a good team every 2 or 3 years. They will make the state tournament run occasionally. I remember a few years ago, as an 8 seed, they took a top seed Oak Hill team right down to the wire, and that was an Oak Hill team that went on to win a AA state title that season. So for Cole Whited, Joe, this is a basketball team that, while I don't know if people associate Philip Barber with basketball success, is still a good, solid basketball program.
Absolutely. They finished up the regular season 18-3 and just having a phenomenal season this year. I know they've made a couple trips down south to take on some teams down in my area. So, they've been across the state as well as playing, some of the regional schools up in that north central part of the state.
And I think the one that kind of helped open eyes in terms of how good they were on a state scale was their victory over Logan, a 10-point win over the Wildcats in Philippi. So Cole Whited, our Standout Athlete of the Week. Luke Creasy has more.
With each new day comes another chance to learn. Some individuals learn by doing, others learn by observing those around them. Some can do both. Philip Barber's Cole Whited carefully observed his senior leaders during his first 2 years of high school basketball, and now uses what he learned to be the leader he once looked up to. Whited's abilities to learn new skills and step up as a senior after those who influenced him had moved on makes him this week's Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia Standout Athlete of the Week. When Whited began playing basketball for the Philip Barber Colts in his sophomore year, he had a lot to learn. That year, the seniors on the team would provide valuable lessons for Whited that would lay the foundation for the player he would soon become.
Even my sophomore year, my role was obviously smaller, but my seniors that year really taught me a lot. I remember Troy Lawson, he's the one that taught me to be physical and how to use my body to rebound and stuff. And then just being able to watch like David and Austin, how they score the ball and stuff. I don't know. I just think bits and pieces of everyone's game, I feel like that's helped me grow. You got to watch the game.
Scoring and rebounding became second nature for Whited in his junior year. Averaging a double-double for the season, Whited quickly grew into a dependable piece of the Colts' both offensive and defensive efforts. Now an upperclassman, he had the opportunity to begin to show his abilities his junior year. The potential was obvious, but Whited had yet to learn how to teach those skills to his other teammates.
Austin and Spencer were great last year. They provided a lot. They spoke with us well. They kept us level-headed and everything. And I have some teammates who are passionate, and sometimes they get a little loud and get fired up, so I just have to tell them to keep their calm. And I try to lead by example along with being able to talk to them all.
Learning from those seniors and seeing now the full influence those seniors had on him, it was up to Whited to use what he learned to teach and lead the Philip Barber Colts into the upcoming season. Now a senior, Whited has put into action the skills he has watched each of the past 2 seasons. Whited remains a dominant force on the boards and in the scoring column, but now he realizes his teammates are now learning from him, just as he once learned from other teammates.
The coach, he gets us all ready to go and fired up. He comes out the game plan and stuff, and I just feel like it's my job to execute whatever he tells me. And I feel like as a leader this year, I feel like if I start to play harder, if I play better in the second half, my team will rally around me, and then we'll all play together better. And
Whited's high school basketball career is quickly winding down as postseason play is just around the corner. Whited hopes to use his experience, physical play, and communication skills he's developed over the past 3 years to guide the Philip Barber boys all the way to a state championship in Charleston, but also to prepare next year's Colts seniors to step up in the same way he has this season. For Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia, I'm Special Correspondent Luke Creasy.
Thank you very much, Luke. And again, looking forward to seeing how things go for Philip Barber in the postseason. That's one of the scenes that's interesting to me to follow along.
Yeah, if you've got a team that isn't consistently in the state tournament mix, to have a good team and making a push here, it's kind of a Cinderella story, and Cinderella stories are always fun to watch.
And to get to watch them play out is something special, also. And I mean, I feel like I'm just kind of joining in here in the middle of everything. So I got to get my bearings here. But I heard about the situation in Harrison County.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Yeah, I mean, really, why punish one county, actually 2 schools, out of 124 schools across the state over this issue when the other 54 county superintendents are going along with what the teacher said. They said, we're walking out, go ahead and play sports, especially the wrestling tournament and the girls sectionals. We don't want to have any bearing on that. And then you've got one superintendent that comes out and pulls the plug on the games.
And Joe, the coach that we talked to, he made a very valid point right there. It's supposed to be 55 strong. Well, if you've got this one county that is holding off like that, even if it is something, such as high school sports or whatever, it does lessen the strength of the one united firm there going against a certain field that they feel is very important.
And I look at how can we get around that? is there a way to get around that?
Well, some parents are going to court or have already been to court. So.
Right. I just.
But it's unfortunate they have to do that, because like you said, the other 54 counties are going along with the game plan.
And and like you were saying, high school athletics are such a uniting front. They do divide us at times whenever there is a rivalry in play there at times. But it does unite us as one because ultimately we're all sports fans in the end, and that's just that's it. For lack of a better term, it pulls us all together. And
it has been an interesting situation with the way the schedules have been affected. We'll go to Dave St. Peter in a moment at WRR. Let's go to Michael Jebbia, head coach of the Wheeling Park Patriots right now. And Coach Jebbia, thanks for hanging with us here tonight. And I know your ball club had a trip into the Charleston area planned for this weekend. Those plans now canceled.
Yeah, we were supposed to play Hurricane tonight, and with the work stoppage, we had no transportation to get there. We are allowed to play tomorrow against South Charleston.
Okay, so so that game will go on at South Charleston, correct?
Yeah, at the community center, 1:00. So we're able to get that one in. So I think both us and South Charleston will end up with 21 regular season games.
Okay. Your ball club is 13-7, the top seed in Region 1, Section 1. That means that you get a bye, and the way that you'll wait the John Marshall Brook one. I know that's what you worry about, but on a bigger scale, we look at the fact that with AAA having 29 teams and the attempts to keep the postseason uniform across all classes, despite the different numbers of teams, you've just got to win one game to get to Charleston in effect.
I know. I mean, you got double A and single A that have to go through a journey there with a lot of teams, and then when the realignment came out, we had 29 teams. So, this is the first time in a long time it's been back to us, Brooke and John Marshall. So, we've played each of those teams, 2 times each, and John Marshall and Brooke are both solid teams, and we'll just have to wait that and go from there. But we'll worry about tomorrow first, and then we'll start to prep for that section, obviously, Monday.
Coach, it's Joe Linville, and I asked a coach earlier, and I'm going to ask you the same question. With only 3 teams in your sectional, is that an advantage or disadvantage?
I look at it, I guess, as an advantage. You don't have to worry. Sometimes that Wednesday first-round sectional game can really be nerve-wracking, so we get to have a bye for that and then look forward to playing Friday. So, when they came out with the alignment, this was the hand we were dealt. So, and we're very familiar, obviously, with John Marshall and Brooke. They're rivals, and they'll play Wednesday. We'll get a look at that, and then go from there.
And your basketball team, as I mentioned, 13-7, has won its last 2 over Indian Creek, Ohio, and East Fairmont. And I'll tell you, to me, your team and Morgantown perhaps played the most challenging in-state schedules in AAA, and I know that's no accident.
No, Morgantown played a very, very tough schedule as well as we did. The thing is, if you look at our 7 losses, we've lost to 3 schools. University, Parkersburg South, and Morgantown. And at times throughout those 3 teams, we played all of them tough at some point. University, a couple weeks ago, handled us very well at home, but they have a very good ball club, and I think quite possibly the best player in state, Cade Matheny, although he's just a sophomore. So, we're hoping it preps us for the tournament, but we've always played a pretty good schedule at Wheeling Park.
And also, I do want to mention, their schedules are better for having your team on them also. And, Coach, again, obviously at a school like Wheeling Park where you go back to the Sam Andy days, the state tournament is the, I won't say expectation, but it's the goal of everybody. But I think, at a school such as Wheeling Park, maybe it's almost more expected there than at other places.
I agree, and I played for Coach Andy, and when our school opened in 1976, he made basketball very important the first year. Wheeling High won the state championship in 76. Warwood had a good team. Triadelphia had a good team. So you guys know sometimes consolidation doesn't go well. Well, the first year Wheeling Park, they went 21-0. They were number 1 in the state, and they got beat by Clarksburg WI, I believe it was, Jeff Schneider in the first round of the state. So from that very first year, we've had good tradition. We've been to the state tournament 21 times out of the 41 years we've been in existence, but we haven't been there since 2012. We lost in this regional game, a few times at the hands of Morgantown, it seems like, a few of those games.
And obviously, again, the Wheeling Park Patriots at 13-7.
Coach, like you said, your opponents coming out of the Section 2, you're very familiar with as well. And how do I know you're obviously can look down the road a little bit, or in the back of your mind, I'm sure, most coaches do. A very tough region to come out of, period.
It is. And in university, the last 2 to 3 years has really come on. And, of course, Morgantown has been probably quite possibly the best program in the state the last couple of years, undefeated in the 2016, almost in the state finals last year. So we've got to win that sectional game first to try to give ourselves a home game. In that regional finals. You just take it one step at a time, but there's no doubt you're looking at Morgantown University more than likely coming out of that.
Always love the postseason. It's the best time of year.
Yeah.
Michael Jebby, you get one more regular season game tomorrow with the trip to South Charleston. We greatly appreciate you joining us here on the show, and we wish you and the Patriots, as always, the best of luck.
Hey, thank you guys for having me on. Enjoy the evening.
All right, thanks so much. It's Michael Jebby, head coach of the Wheeling Park Patriots boys team. And before we go to break, Joe, we have some people to thank.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia is made possible in part by the financial support from the Dr. Carter G. Woodson Lyceum, the W. Page Pitt School of Journalism and Mass Communications, and, of course, WMUL-FM.
Coming up after the break, we'll talk with Marcus Johnson, head coach of the Philip Barber Colts. We'll also talk with Dylan Godet of the Buccaneer Sports Network with Buchanan Upshur. And we'll have a scoreboard update. This is Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
For scores online, all of them in West Virginia, visit basketballnight.com. Join us online. Vote in this week's poll. You've got till 11:45 tonight. This week's question: should counties be allowed to play and practice during a work stoppage? Tell us what you think, yes or no. Go to basketballnight.com to vote, and at 11:45 tonight, we'll let you know the results. Basketball Friday Night, West Virginia's high school basketball voice. Many places that you can listen or watch Basketball Friday Night. Of course, we're on great radio stations throughout the Mountain State. We'll mention all those at the top of the hour, but you can go to basketballnight.com, click on our affiliates page at the bottom, and you can find the station nearest you. You can also watch our high-definition video on YouTube by going to basketballnight.com. Just click to watch. If you want to watch us on Facebook, go to the RSN Sports Facebook page, and you can watch us on Facebook Live. And we're on Periscope. Twitter, @hoops_roundup, @hoops_roundup on Periscope. On cable, if you have Suddenlink in West Virginia, you'll find us on Network West Virginia. In the Huntington area, we're on Comcast, Channel 25. If you're watching right now, you see all kinds of game and fan pictures. We'd like to feature them in our video stream. Send us your pictures to Twitter, @hoops_roundup, @hoops_roundup. You can also send them to us by Facebook. Go to the RSN Sports Network Facebook page and send your pictures there. You can even send them to us by email. Send them to scores@basketballnight.com. Give us your best pictures of your team and their fans and become a part of basketballnight.com.
Celebrating high school basketball around the Mountain State. You're listening to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia on the Fast Break Sports Network. Now, back to your hosts, Bill Cornwell, Joe Linville, and Ryan Epling.
10:33 on this Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Bill Cornwell back with us here. We'll have Jordan Mounts also with us.
We're alternating.
Yes, and Joe Linville with us as well. And I want to say in advance a big thank you to Jordan and a big thank you to both of you guys for allowing me to just kind of relax and
enjoy
not
the evening
and not have to rush in here. And you guys said,
Yeah.
just take care of it, just enjoy it. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, people who
immensely.
listen and watch this program know your loyalty to your alma mater, and we give you a hard time about it, but I feel good for you because Wayne basketball is going to places it has never gone before, and it's big. And that's like I said. I know you agree with me back in the back. There have been good individual players at Wayne, never teams that were really worthy. Well, now that there is one,
yeah, and
state worthy,
absolutely. And also, I met Tim Lapardis tonight. He was at the game. His daughter is Gabby Lapardis from Wyoming East. So, basketball Friday night in West Virginia. Our family is just
expanding.
It's unending. It's like the family tree that never ends.
It's exploding.
Yes, exactly. But we know that you're not here to really listen to us talk about ourselves. You're here to listen for scores and to get all the celebration of high school basketball across the state of West Virginia. So now it's time for a check of the Marshall University Sports Journalism BasketballNight.com scoreboard. Joe, we'll let you knock out the first the AAA girls scores. I'll take the AA, and then we'll give Bill the single A girls and the boys scores.
All right. In Region 1, Section 1, AAA, Wheeling Park knocks off John Marshall tonight, 63-46. In Region 3, Section 1, it was George Washington, the Patriots, over the Lady Dragons of St. Albans, 59-52. It was the Woodrow Wilson Flying Eagles over Greenbrier East in Region 3, Section 2 by a score of 67-63. Big game in Parkersburg tonight. The Patriots of Parkersburg South knock off the Big Reds 68-59. And Cabell Midland, the Lady Knights knock off the Timberwolves of Spring Valley 51-45.
AA girls sectional finals tonight. It was in Region 1, Section 1. Frankfort wins the Mineral County battle over Kaiser, 56-46. Region 1, Section 2, it was North Marion, 60, Fairmont Senior, 52. That means in the regional co-finals, it will be Fairmont Senior at Frankfort, and Kaiser, the only team to beat North Marion, will travel to North Marion on Thursday night. Yes, it is. And also tonight in AA Region 2, Section 2, it was Nicholas County 71, Roane County 34. Region 4, Section 1, Wayne defeats Winfield tonight, 52-39. Lady Pioneers win the sectional title. Also tonight, a score that we don't have in here. Oh, yes, we do. Sorry. I was just late on it. Logan comes from behind. They were trailing at halftime. They come back and beat Lincoln County tonight, 42-30. So Logan wins AA Region 4 Section 2. That sets up Lincoln County at Wayne Thursday night and Winfield traveling to Logan.
All right, single A scores. First off, in Region 1, Section 1, Wheeling Central beats Cameron 57-32. Region 1, Section 2, it was Magnolia 58, Ritchie County 34. On to Region 3, Section 1, it was Charleston Catholic with a last-second shot. Charleston Catholic beats Pocahontas County at Pocahontas County 27-25. Jordan Keener went coast to coast with 8.5 seconds left to give the Catholic Irish the win over Pocahontas County in that Region 3 Section 1 Single A sectional final. It's the Region 3 Section 2. It was Summers County. Certainly a team that's used to winning in sectionals. They beat Meadow Bridge 61-35. And finally, in Region 4, Section 2, no shocker here, is the Huntington St. Joe Irish all over the Sherman Tide by a score of 93-29. Let's check what boys scores we do have because it is limited for various reasons, including from what we understand the work stoppage for the teachers, but we do have a couple of finals, and Independence beat Liberty Raleigh tonight 53-46. Riverview over Pikeview by a score of 55-54.
That is a check of your Marshall University Sports Journalism BasketballNight.com scoreboard.
And the only game that we didn't have a score from is a game that was postponed in case you've just tuned into the show. The Lincoln Cougar Bridgeport Indian girls region in Class AA Region 2 Section 1 game has been postponed, possibly canceled, because the superintendent of schools of Harrison County said that there could not be any extracurricular activities tonight. So, a lot going on in Harrison County tonight as far as girls basketball.
And as far as we know, unless a court gets involved, they would have until Wednesday night to have that game played, because the AA co-regional games are Thursday night.
I think the SSAC put a little filler out this evening. They may let it go till Monday. Not sure they'll let it go all the way to Wednesday.
Yeah.
Okay, that's absolutely
something has to be decided. Is basically the way it's looking.
Monday at the very, very latest.
Well, again, a team that we mentioned earlier is having a great season is the Philip Barber Colts. Marcus Johnson is the head coach of that boys basketball team. He joins us now on Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. And first off, Coach Johnson, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Your Philip Barber Colts are 18-3 on the season, and coming out of an area that is traditionally very strong in boys basketball. Just tell me about how this season has gone compared to maybe any expectations that you had coming into this season.
We thought we were going to be pretty good. I mean, we had 3 guys that was returning from last year's team that went 22-4, and we had a pretty good nucleus of guys that were coming back. And, we tried to mesh everybody in along with those guys, and so far, everything's worked out pretty good for us. I mean, everybody's learned how to play with each other, learning their roles, and just playing as one as a team. So, I think we expect it to be good and expect it to play well. So, as of right now, we've accomplished a lot with this group of guys, and hopefully just continue.
Well, your boys basketball team has been all over this great state of West Virginia this year. You've played games in Ripley. You've played a game also in Mingo County against Mingo Central. Played obviously in the Philippi area, but also a trip to Short Gap to Frankfort. So you've been in just about every part of this state. Does that help you get to see just basketball there is played a little bit different throughout this state in terms of from region to region?
Yeah, I mean, when we played, like Logan came up here and played over Christmas break, and we was wanting to get a look at Logan, and because there's a chance that you would be playing them later in the season, and then Mingo had got us last year in the state the state tournament, so we wanted to go down there and play them, and just see the environment, and they have a beautiful facility down there, but just how they play. I mean that's a big thing, and with Frankfurt and Petersburg and teams like that, we have to circulate in our section, so we have to play teams like that. But every place that you play different. There's different ways that the officials might call a game, and from letting you guys play to not letting you play rough, or so that was one main reason that we went to Mingo. We scheduled Logan, and like Ripley played us in a holiday tournament right at the very beginning in Grafton. So just seeing different teams and how they play, I mean that's what you want as a coach, is to see different aspects of basketball and seeing if your team can match up to us. And not only just the traveling part, but playing here in the Big Ten Conference, I think it's one of the better conferences in the state. With West Fairmont, Bridgeport, and RCB, and teams like that, North Marion. Just given different looks to us, and trying to make us a better team.
Well, Coach, like you said, you're coming out of that Class AA Region 1. Of course, you're in Section 1, but I'll tell you what, that Section 2 is no pushover by any means.
No, and if you're talking about like West Fairmont, North Marion, and East Fairmont, I mean, I don't know much about Oakland and Weir, but I know the 3 teams that I mentioned in there. I mean, they're pretty tough, and when you have to go and play them, and it counts one game, and it's one game you're in or you're out. I mean, it makes you figure it out real quick how important the game is. And West Fairmont's a good team, North Marion's a good team, and
and East is a good team. So I mean, all the teams around here are pretty decent.
And Coach Johnson, one last question before we let you go. We're going to have Cole Whited on in just a moment, standout athlete of the week. What can you tell us about that young man?
You know, he has really grown on not only myself but everybody. I mean, Cole was a kid that if you look at him, I mean, you might pick him last, or you might, you know, he was on the bubble by just his appearance. I mean, he's tall and kind of dangly, and then, but when you see him play, you know how good of a player he is and how important of a player he is. I mean, he does things that you wouldn't think. I mean, he'll come out of a game and have a double-double, or, you know, close to a triple-double. Just things that how he comes up with the ball and how he uses his body are things that they did 20 years ago. Like when you see kids use their body and get a three-point play, them are things that he does. And, you know, we always joke around with him because, you know, when we first seen him when he was a freshman and a sophomore, I mean, when he came to my program there when he was a sophomore, you know, you look at him and you think, how in the world does he get all these rebounds, or how does he score these buckets? And as you watch him play, it's almost like a little art that he does, and how he uses his body and how he gets in position, and how he collects the ball from somebody that might be way stronger or more athletic than he is. And when he plays, he's by far one of the better ones on the floor as he's playing.
Philip Barber will play host to the winner of the Kaiser Grafton game. That game will be at Philip Barber, in terms of Philip Barber's game, Wednesday night in the Boys AA Region 1 Section 1 tournament. Coach Marcus Johnson of the Philip Barber Colts, thanks so much for joining us. Best of luck to your program and team.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, and let's go right back to the phone lines as we are on a jam-packed show here tonight. And let's go to Jason White, head coach of the Morgantown Mohegans. And Coach White, it's been a while since we got to talk about your girls basketball program here on the show.
Yeah, couldn't wait to call in tonight because I haven't gotten an opportunity to talk to you guys this year, and always look forward to talking to you guys. And man, we're running out of time. This season's just flown by.
We are on the 12th week of this show already, and I mean, honestly, it feels like I'm just getting into the flow of things. I can't imagine what it feels like for you just coaching, and it's a blur.
Yeah, it goes so quick, especially this time of year. I mean, you get to Christmas and you play in that tournament, and then next thing you know, your head's down and you're practice to games, and you're on the road, and man, you're just trying to win the next one. So as a coach, man, it just goes by so quick.
Your basketball team coming off of a loss last night in the Region 1 Section 2 championship to Buchanan Upshur. That's a fantastic team. Your team's very good. That was a great game last night.
Oh, the atmosphere was great at Buchanan. They really do a great job of supporting their girls basketball program, and man, what an environment! And you know, the way the game played out, and the leads going back and forth. It probably wasn't the most beautiful basketball that's ever been played, but I tell you what, it was entertaining for the crowd because the score just kept going back and forth, and it was anybody's game right down to the wire. And I think that's all you can ask for.
I know you're competitive. We've talked enough. I know you're competitive, but I also know that you love the sport. And I think there's a part of you that can appreciate being a part of that, regardless of the outcome.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's good for high school basketball, and anybody who's a fan of basketball and high school basketball wants to play in those kind of environments and those kind of games. And you don't always get that, especially here in Morgantown. Just, you know, you've got the university and there's so many other things in the area that you don't always get gyms that are packed. And even when, you know, we had teams that were 25-1, 26-1, we didn't get that kind of environment. And that community spirit that they have there in Buchanan is something special. And they've got a really great basketball program. And Coach Maxwell does such a great job. I mean, I respect him as much as anybody in the state. And, you know, I am competitive, and we've played them 3 times, and we've gotten closer each time. And as competitive as I am, I hope we can get into the state tournament because I'd like to play them one more time and get another crack at them.
Your team will be will go to Wheeling Park in the AAA Region 1 co-final next week. Coach White, sorry that we couldn't get to talk more with you, but hopefully we can do this again soon.
Yeah, hopefully we're talking here maybe next Friday night and talking about an opportunity to maybe play in the Civic Center.
There you go. Jason White, head coach of the Morgantown Mohegans girls basketball team. We've got to step aside and take a break. When we come back, we'll talk with Dylan Godet of the Buccaneer Sports Network. We'll also talk with Cole Whited, our standout athlete of the week, and Fred Persinger II, the voice of the Woodrow Wilson Flying Eagles boys basketball team, covering you statewide here on Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
If you love basketball, then there's only one place to be on Friday nights after the game. It's Basketball Friday Nights in West Virginia. High school basketball action in West Virginia is heating up as the teams focus on a trip to the state championship in Charleston. Stay up to date with your local team and its progress all season long with Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia for 3 hours every Friday night from 9 to midnight. Listen online or on great radio stations throughout the Mountain State. You'll hear sports writers, broadcasters, coaches, players, and your calls recapping your team's game. Visit basketballnight.com for more details on how you can become part of the show. Follow us on Twitter at @hoops_roundup, @hoops_roundup. Thanks to everyone tonight that's called, sent text, tweets, and emails. We appreciate you being part of the show and helping us cover all high school basketball in West Virginia. Join us tonight on the phone and share your team's game. Call toll-free 855-784-6677. 855-784-6677. Follow us on Twitter @hoops_roundup, @hoops_roundup. You can text the show. Text your scores and stats to 304-249-4924. 304-249-4924. Go to our website, check out the scoreboard, and find out how you can connect with the show tonight at basketballnight.com. A shout out to some of our newest Twitter followers tonight. Shannon McDaniel, Kristen Baskin, David O'Leary, the Paw Pirates, Drew Skeens, Amy Little, Cody Tomer, Corey Gerard, Dylan Hall, and Dakota Kirby. They're all part of the Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia family.
Stay up to date on your favorite teams. Check out basketballnight.com. Now, back to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia with Bill Cornwell, Joe Linville, and Ryan Epling.
10:51 on this Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Ryan Epling, Joe Linville, Bill Cornwell with you. Fastest 3 hours in radio. It feels really fast for me tonight. We're almost 2 full hours in. I feel like I just got here.
But dock your pay.
Yeah. Half of zero is zero, right? But we're all good here. We have a good time here on Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. We hope you do as well. One thing we do celebrate along with the sport of basketball is we celebrate our student athletes as well. And our standout athlete of the week this week is from Philip Barber High School. He is a big part of the success of this year's Colts basketball team, 18-3 as they head into the postseason. Also averages a double-double. Cole Whited joins us here on Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. And Cole, first off, congratulations on being this week's standout athlete of the week.
Thank you. It's an honor.
Tell me how you got into playing high school basketball, because you started your sophomore year. So instead of taking the traditional path of playing like all 4 years, tell me about picking the game up a little bit late.
Actually, I played my freshman year just for the freshman team.
Ah, gotcha. Okay, that we got some info there that I apologize that we didn't have clarified. But nonetheless, we understand that one of the things that you were able to do your sophomore year, you kind of accepted the leadership from the seniors within that program, and then had a great year last year, more seniors that went through. You've kind of been able to lead this year based off the experience of growing up the past 2 seasons.
Yeah, I think learning and observing others is a big part of improvement in anything. So being able to grow up and just watch people in front of me has really helped me develop. And I think just taking little bits and pieces from everyone's game can help make your game better as well.
Cole, this is Joe Linville, and it impresses me when a high school player gets a double-double, much less average a double-double. Is there a lot of pressure to keep that up throughout the season?
I want to say it's pressure to get the double-double. I say the pressure is just making sure I can go out and give everything I have and play to the best of my ability, and then if I get the double-double, it is what it is. I just want to go out and do my best.
As the season winds down, you guys are having a stellar year and a good possibility that your team can play into Charleston. Would that be a personal goal of yours to be able to, go deep into the tournament?
Yeah, it is a personal goal. At the beginning of the season, Coach Johnson gave every player a little note card and had us write down 3 goals, and we put them in our locker room locker so we can see them every day. And one of mine was to get back to the state tournament, because I feel last year when we got there we didn't perform as we wanted to. So I want to get back there and prove that we're better than we showed last year, and then make a run and hopefully in the end get to where we really want to be, and that's the state championship game.
Well, we talked about your great stats as a junior. Talk about what you did with your game in the off season this year, coming into your senior year to get even better.
Well, we always play in the summer together with Randy Shriver, and he's really helped work with us so we can play year round, all growing up. So in the off season, we do still go around. We play a lot, and with Randy, I think has really helped develop my offensive game and in the post and everything. And yeah.
And the Philip Barber Colts will await the winner of the Kaiser Grafton game. Those 2 teams play Monday, so you have to wait until Wednesday. Tell me a little bit about having this time off now before what is an elimination game Wednesday night.
We got yesterday off. We had a light shoot around today, and it's nice to let the body rest a little bit and everything, but I know going into Monday and Tuesday, we're going to have to pick practice up and play hard, because I don't want to go home early. Like I said, my end goal is to get to the state championship game, so I know Monday and Tuesday coming, I'm about to go in, I'm about to push my teammates to make sure we're ready for anything that's thrown at us.
Cole, congratulations once again on being our standout athlete of the week, and we wish you and your Colts the best of luck in the upcoming sectional and whatever may happen beyond that.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
All right, that's our standout athlete of the week, Cole Whited from Philip Barber High School. And Joe, you can tell he's someone who observant, I think is a good word to use with him, picking up on the leadership of his teammates.
Yeah, you can tell he just sounds like a natural, that once he walks out on the court, his teammates look up to him as the team leader.
And it's always good to have one of those, especially this time of year. You want to have somebody you can kind of go to and rely on when you need a big bucket. And that's what Phil Barber has been able to do this year. We're going to step aside and take a break. When we come back, our good buddy Dylan Godet, who poor guy's been on hold for almost Bo Anderson lengths of time, we'll have him on the program. Fred Pershner II, voice of the Flying Eagles of Woodrow Wilson boys basketball team. We'll have that and much more with Hour 3 of Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
There's no better place to be than right here. It's Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Special thanks tonight to all of our affiliates. You can watch us statewide on Suddenlink's Network West Virginia. Cable subscribers in the Huntington area can find us on Comcast Channel 25. And we're on Facebook Live. Go to rsnsports.com. BasketballFriday.com to find us on Facebook Live. You can listen on great radio stations throughout the Mountain State, too, including 103.7 Jack FM, WQWV in Fisher. The Valley's Watchdog, 1600 AM, WKKX Wheeling, 1370 AM, WVLY Moundsville. Jackson County's home for Southern Gospel, Singing News Radio, 92.5 FM, WTHMLP, Ravenswood, Ripley. Knights Radio, 91.5 FM, WRSG in Middleburn. Talk Radio, WRNR, Martinsburg, 740 AM, 106.5 FM. Classic Hits 106, WHFI Linside, 106.7 FM. 95, The Sports Fox, WBES Charleston, 950 AM. The Voice of the Coalfields, 101.9 FM and 1290 AM. WVOW in Logan. Light Rock 93R, WRRR St. Mary's, 93.9 FM. The Ticket, 102.3 FM, WMTD Hinton. The greatest oldies of all time, 98.5 FM and 101.5 FM, WQAZ LP, Edmond, Beckley. Tune for You, Yap Radio, 101.7 FM, WYAP-LP Clay, and Marshall University's flagship station, The Cutting Edge, 88.1 FM, WMUL in Huntington.
A proud supporter of Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia, the Dr. Carter G. Woodson Lyceum honors the father of black history and serves as a forum for issues of importance to Marshall University and the tri-state area. For more information about the Lyceum's major events during February, visit marshall.edu/Woodson Lyceum. That's one word, WOODSONLYCEUM. And follow its tweets about an interactive presentation by a Carter G. Woodson relative, Dr. Craig Woodson, who will teach children how to make drums, as is done in Ghana on Wednesday, February 28th. The Lyceum is a joint program of the John Deaver Drinko Academy and the School of Journalism and Mass Communications at Marshall University.
Welcome back to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. To join tonight's program, call 855-78-HOOPS. That's 855-784-6677. Follow us on Twitter @hoops_roundup for all the scores all the time. And visit basketballnight.com for a comprehensive look at schedules and standings for every team in the state. Stay tuned. Another hour of Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia begins right now.
Welcome back to the third and final hour. Well, welcome to the third and final hour of Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Ryan Epling, Joe Linville, Jordan Mounts back with us here on set. We will do a full scoreboard in a moment, but we've had some callers that have been waiting long enough, and we want to get them into the program. Fred Purser in a second, WJLS Radio, voice of the Flying Eagles of Woodrow Wilson, joins us on the program. And Fred, have you recovered yet from that game with Parkersburg South earlier this week?
Yeah, it was a really good game. I mean, Beckley had their chances to win, and going back and forth, really saw two of the best teams in the state play. I mean, it was a great matchup. I mean, when you look at it for Parkersburg South, they go 15 of 29 from the three-point range. Beckley only hit 2 3-pointers all night long and still had a chance to win at the end of regulation, had a chance to win at the end of the first and second overtime, and just couldn't roll it out. But, boy, it was a great game, one of the best games I've seen in a while.
And you talk about state tournament preparations, obviously work to do to get there. But the MSAC Night of Champions third-place game, Woodrow Wilson with a 22-point win over George Washington a week ago tomorrow, so last Saturday. And then playing Parkersburg South at home, granted 3 nights later, but those are the types of teams you play when you get to Charleston.
Yeah, and that's right. When you look at Beckley's schedule all the way throughout the season, Beckley has played a very tough schedule all season long, even going back to December, playing in the tournament in Morgantown, playing 2 out-of-state teams, and then coming back the next week and playing 2 more private schools, or actually playing Bluefield, another private school, and the WJLS tournament along with Little General, and then play just throughout the year. Playing the MSAC, you play a tough schedule, and they played Capital, they played GW twice, and so yeah, it's been a very tough schedule, and then closing it out with Parkersburg South it was a great way to get ready for the playoffs, no doubt about it.
Hey, Fred, this is Joe Linville, and now, you mentioned the sectionals, and you got Greenbrier East, and you was just talking about George Washington and Capital. You could face those teams as well in the regionals.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when you look at Beckley's section right now, Beckley is definitely the favorite in the section. When you look at Beckley, and the number 2 seed is Princeton, number 3 is Riverside, and number 4 is Greenbrier East. And years past, it's been Beckley and Greenbrier East being 1 and 2, and now they'll play in the first round. So that's always a scary situation. You got probably your biggest rival in the first round of the sectional. But playing at the Armory is good, and Beckley has played well against Greenbrier East this year. But yeah, when you look at it, we were talking earlier this week, when you look at the regions across the state, you've got the region where you've got Beckley, GW, Capital, and 2 of those teams will make it. And then you look in that other region where you've got Huntington, Parkersburg South, Parkersburg, where only 2 of those teams will make it. So, I mean, you're going to have at least 2 of the top, I'd say 6 or 7 teams in the state of West Virginia sitting at home this year because those 2 regions, the way they're set up.
Yeah, Coach, Jordan Mounts here. Fred, sorry. Here we're looking at the schedule right now. Woodrow Wilson, they've got Greenbrier East the first round, and directly after that, they're going to be looking at playing the River of Princeton and Riverside here in the sectional tournament. So just talk to us a little bit about what to expect there in that game, and also after that, when they go on to the regional to face one of the teams from the other section.
Yeah, if Beckley wins on Wednesday night against Greenbrier East, I mean, Beckley has handled Greenbrier East well, and of course there's a rival game, so you always have to worry about that. But Beckley has been, all season long, Beckley has had, we're calling them the Iron Five. And the starting 5 for Beckley has played a lot of minutes, but they've played well. 4 of the 5 guys are averaging in double figures. And then you've got Danny Bickey, who's averaging right at 9 points per game. So the starting 5, they move the ball around well. Ty Walton is probably playing just as well, if not better, than just about anybody in the state of West Virginia on both sides of the ball. He's really playing well for this Beckley team, bouncing back from that knee injury last year. And then also you got Mikey Penn and Eddie Christian, 3 seniors, along with Ty, who've been playing outstanding. Mikey Penn has scored over 20 points the last couple of games for Beckley, and this has played really well. So Beckley's playing well right now, and offensively, we talk about it because they score 60, 70, 70 some, I think they're averaging about 72 points per game. But defense is really where they're stepping up big time right now. And going back to that game against George Washington, the MSAC third place game, I mean, George Washington was coming off a win over Parkersburg South. They had won 10 in a row, and games where they scored 80 and 90 points, and Beckley holds them to 46. And matter of fact, they scored only, I think, they scored 32 points over 3 quarters. I mean, Beckley just really played lockdown defense on them, and that's what Beckley's been doing so well as of late, is playing defense. So, looking at it from the sectional standpoint, we haven't played Princeton this year because of the fact they were in the MSAC and then they just dropped out. So we were not able to play them at all, and that's a rival game that's 30 miles apart that we should be playing, but we can't. So we haven't seen Princeton this year. And Riverside, we played Riverside earlier and beat them handily as well. But Riverside's a better ball club. They've got a really good tall player inside. The Wood kid, 6'7" kid, is very good. But then if Beckley's fortunate enough to win on Wednesday, and then we know we're going to play in the regionals, hopefully we win that section to play at home, because then you're looking at either Capital or George Washington, or who knows, the way South Charleston plays at times, they could be in the mix as well. So it's going to be up in the air if Beckley can get to the regionals, who exactly they'll play, and will it be that good matchup for Beckley to try to get back to the state tournament.
It's a big time of year for everyone, but in the Beckley area, it's almost like a holiday. Brett Persinger II, WJLS Radio. Thanks so much for joining us.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
All right. And some places where they have that tradition, it's just, you can sometimes create expectations that are difficult to attain.
And the history, once again, we talk about venues, the Raleigh County Armory. I mean, it is deep.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we talk about, you go from a venue to an atmosphere.
Right.
And Jason White talked about the great atmosphere in Buchanan earlier this week when his girls fell in the sectional championship game to Buchanan Upshur. The top-ranked Buccaneers got the win in that one. Dylan Goday of the Buccaneer Sports Network joins us now on the program. And Dylan, I think it's safe to say there's a healthy respect within that rivalry with Morgantown.
Thank you guys for having me. Yes, there is, and it's been a fantastic rivalry, all the games, dating back to last season where the first year for Buchanan Upshur in that section with Morgantown, the first game, the Bucks fell there to Morgantown, and then ever since then, they've been able to defeat them. And every single game has been back and forth, and all three of the games this season have been some of the best games of the season for the Lady Bucks in terms of just the product out there on the court, and it was no different last night.
And always, as I mentioned, always nice to win, and that ball club has been winning at a very good rate. But you get that tough challenge with Morgantown in the sectional, and Morgantown may be another team that can be a threat for a state championship should it be able to get to Charleston, and still one game to go before that would take place. But I think it's good to have a nice challenge before you get onto the big floor at the Civic Center.
Yeah, it definitely is. And you mentioned winning in the section. Since joining the section, Lady Bucks are 13-1 in that tough section there with Morgantown University and Preston. That's an impressive record. And you mentioned winning over the last two seasons. They're 47-5 in the senior group with the win. If they're able to get a win on Tuesday night against John Marshall, that'll be 80 wins for them. So they've gotten used to winning, and playing teams like Morgantown 3 times in the season definitely prepares them for teams they're going to face come tournament time.
John Marshall will make the trip to Buchanan next week in a regional co-final. And, for the Lady Bucks, this is now familiar territory. We've kind of talked in the past about the building of that program, but now it's the one with the target on its back. And we've talked about that through the course of this year, Dylan. But have you seen any signs of that maybe starting to wear on that team a little bit?
Well, the start to that game last night was not very good. One of the worst playing starts to a game that they've had. I believe it took 6 minutes of close to 7 minutes of game time before the Buchanan Upshur to get a shot in the basket, and they eventually did get one up. Only shot 32% last night as well. Beginning to get the feeling of maybe the pressure of beating this Morgantown team for a third time now, the pressure weighing down them from the community and the state level wanting to reach that state tournament was getting to them. But then at the end of the game, Hannah McClung, who is getting that time of the year as well, the player of the year consideration, her name's got to be right up there at the top. Stepped up, made big free throws, ended the game making all of her free throws. They were 7 of 7 for the game, and carried that team and a couple big plays. And next thing you know, it's the team we're used to, but came up there looking poised and confident the last few minutes of the game. And I think that was one of those important moments that they had in that game, being down late in the fourth quarter for really the first time this season and being able to come through and get a win. I think that definitely prepares them for the tournament.
Jordan Mounts here. Just looking also at the sectional, the Buchanan Upshur winning here against Morgantown, also Wheeling Park and John Marshall. We know how that game finished with Wheeling Park winning that one. Buchanan Upshur goes to take on John Marshall, or rather John Marshall's coming to take on Buchanan. Nonetheless, talk to us a little bit about what to expect in that game and what we have to look forward to for the Buchanan Upshur, for the Buccaneers to walk away with a regional championship and a trip to Charleston.
Well, I think that both Buchanan, Upshur, and Morgantown were looking at that Wheeling Park John Marshall game tonight with wanting to know the outcome of it, because that's definitely a hostile environment there in Wheeling Park, and no team wants to make that travel. So Buchanan gets the win and then plays John Marshall instead of Wheeling Park. Because Wheeling Park's one of those teams that you go play up there in Wheeling, anything can happen. So I think they really liked the matchup there with John Marshall. That was a game, I believe it started 22-0 in favor of Buchanan last time those two teams played. So a matchup where they've won in the past and dominated in the past. So I think that's the matchup they wanted, but that Wheeling Park matchup would have been definitely tough for the girls.
Buchanan Upshur getting set to take on John Marshall next week. Dylan Goday of the Buccaneers Sports Network. Dylan, always a pleasure.
Thank you guys for having me.
All right, and let's talk about this for a moment before we go to break. The Harrison County situation.
Mm-hmm.
Again, if you're just joining us, Harrison County Superintendent not allowing the girls sectional game between Lincoln and Bridgeport to be played due to the work stoppage. Wrestlers from Harrison County were permitted to take part in the state wrestling tournament in Huntington the last 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that that creates a Title IX issue.
Yeah, definitely. I think it'll be. I think the judge will overrule it. I think he'll let them play, and I agree with the Title IX issue. I mean, that's what's fair about it. I mean, you can look at it at all angles, and there's nothing fair about it. You're punishing those two girls' programs at Bridgeport and Lincoln.
I've been going back and forth during the show, even with a buddy of mine in Parkersburg, about just some random, ideas. Do they just do a coin flip, since they're the two teams that would go to the regional anyway, and just go ahead and, declare one the sectional champion, one the sectional runner-up, and hope the work stoppage doesn't affect them? It would give them an extra week or an extra few days. What do they do in that situation? I don't know, and that's going to be something to follow.
Yeah, my understanding, they're going to send Nicholas County and Roane County will be your two regional reps.
Right, if they're not able to play. Right. But I'm just saying, I'm looking at the standpoint of what action can Bridgeport and Lincoln continue. I know, again, you try to get an injunction, but
if the injunction's granted or not granted, the SSAC is going to have to do something to extend some time for this to happen. If we want this to be a true competition, something that the SSAC strives for is, fair and legal competition between the teams. There's going to have to be an extension of time, because, just trying to play back-to-back-to-back games like this, it's next to impossible.
And again, I can't stress enough the inconsistency in allowing. And again, it would have been a travesty in my mind to not allow the wrestlers to go.
Right.
But to allow the wrestlers to go and then not allow the girls basketball team to play, that's not equal footing.
No.
And that'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Right.
And again, we're not here to get into a political idea of it at all. We love basketball.
We want to see them play.
We want them to get their fair opportunity to advance through postseason play. And
and it's two teams that have the opportunity to go to Charleston to play for a state championship.
It's a kid's game.
And, and you both know that, the ultimate goal is a state championship. If you don't get your fair shot, there's always going to be that question, what if, And
there's so many other things I could say about that, but I'm just not going to. We'll step aside, take a break. When we come back, our resident referee, Bo Anderson.
In-house.
In-house will make an appearance. Basketball Friday night in West Virginia continues. Also, by the way, I want to tease this. We've got an exceptional story of how a young lady got to a game. You'll have to listen. This is Basketball Friday night in West Virginia on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
For scores online, all of them in West Virginia, visit basketballnight.com. How about a chance to graduate from college not only with a diploma, but also prepare to thrive in an exciting, growing field? The Marshall University Sports Journalism program might just be for you. The expansion of cable networks, the rise of sports-centered online platforms, and the continued thirst for local sports coverage makes sports journalism a growth industry with jobs waiting for those who earn this degree. Your passion, curiosity, and charisma, coupled with Marshall University sports journalism training, will equip you for success in a multi-billion-dollar global industry. So bring your abilities and a desire to be the eyes, ears, and life of the game to our Huntington campus to learn the art of sports storytelling while covering the Thundering Herd. We will teach you how to go beyond the scores and statistics to tell compelling stories and accurately report breaking news across multiple media platforms. Marshall University's W. Page Pitt School of Journalism and Mass Communications is ready and eager to help you start your sports journalism career. Learn more about the exciting possibilities by visiting marshall.edu/SOJMC. Join us online. You've got till 11:45 tonight to vote in this week's poll. The question is, should counties be allowed to play and practice during a work stoppage? Tell us what you think, yes or no. Go to basketballnight.com to vote. You'll see the poll on the right-hand side of the page. Again, you got till 11:45 tonight, and of course we'll share the result at the end of the show this evening. Many thanks to all of our new Twitter followers. Thank you to Morgan Poff, Dustin Griffin, Jada, and Elizabeth Nicely.
This is high school basketball's home for the Mountain State. Basketball Friday night in West Virginia on the Fast Break Sports Network. Now, back to your hosts, Bill Cornwell, Joe Linville, and Ryan Epling.
Coming up on 11:19 on this Basketball Friday night in West Virginia, Ryan Epling alongside Joe Linville, Jordan Mounts, and a sight I've never seen. I've known Bo Anderson for years, our resident referee, going back to he would actually take part in basketball camps, going back to the Don Smith camp, the Gary Norris camp. He used to be at the Huntington YMCA. He would help instruct at those. And for the first time, I'm seeing him in a long sleeve shirt.
Well, you know, I was like Superman trying to get dressed here a second ago, and most generally I don't wear long sleeve shirts, but you know, I'll do anything that's necessary to match up with the rest of you guys tonight. And I do have to add one thing. Ryan comes in holding his cell phone and talking, and I've been sitting here for 2.5 hours and still can't get on the show before him.
Oh, got teed up there.
You know, we put Bo on hold even when he's here. It's just, you know, it's what we do here on Basketball Friday night in West Virginia. But as always, we appreciate Bo taking time out to join us and, you know, take our questions on the way things are handled in terms of the administration of the rules of basketball. Sometimes they can be a little bit tricky. And a couple of things that came to mind that I've witnessed over the past week. One of them is probably a simple question, but I'd really never thought of it in so much this fashion. And Bo, this involves a blocked shot. If a player shoots, say that shooting a layup, because this is where it's most common, and maybe somebody gets a fingertip on the ball, it continues on its trajectory to the basket, off the backboard, and is then blocked by a second player. Is that a legal block because of the first touch of the ball?
Sure, it's legal as long as the ball didn't hit the backboard and it's on its way down into the basket, and then you would have basket interference. But yes, you know, a second touch on the ball is a legal play. That is a legal block, as long as, again, it's not basket interference or goaltending involved. The field goal attempt, you know, technically is not finished even with the touching of the basketball. So therefore, you have an opportunity to still score. So therefore, you have an opportunity to have basket interference or goaltending or a second shot block in the same shot.
So, that's something that you know, that seems simple,
Right.
but I hadn't really thought of it.
Right.
And,
Bo, I'm going to give you a 2 thumbs up on the look tonight. So.
Hey, well, I tell you what, you better take a good look around, because this is about the only time you see me this way.
Anyway, I got a question for you. As the season winds down, and you know, some teams have had stellar seasons, some teams not so good. Sportsmanship, do you see an improvement or maybe a little more unsportsmanlike conduct as the season rolls into the final 2 or 3 games?
Well, again, you know, it's all up to the individual players, and the coaches have a lot of control over their teams. And you'll find if they are good coaches of sportsmanship, then it don't matter what the records are or what the game is being played, they'll still expect the same out of their players. The only thing I try to remind people, especially like, let's say this week being the last week of boys' regular season, if I do a game, I try to remind them at the end of the game, hey guys, let's not do anything silly out here to get thrown out of the game or to get your second technical and get ejected for that. Let's try to not to hurt your own teams when it comes time for sectionals to get started next week for the boys. And same way with the girls. If I'd have a girls game last week, it would be the same way. You know, try to talk to them and make sure that they don't do anything silly so they don't have to sit out their sectionals.
And here's a situation that I saw, and again, I don't think it's that complicated. Maybe I'm just overcomplicating it in my mind. But a ball deflected in the front court by the defensive player, hits the offensive player, and then goes into the back court. Offensive player goes and picks it up. Is that an over and back violation, or is that considered a loose ball at that point?
Any team who has the basketball always retains control of it, even during a loose ball. So that is still team control. Let's say if White had it in the front court, they make a pass or they're dribbling and the red team knocks it off their leg or hits it, and then White hits it still in the front court and goes in the back court, that's a backcourt violation because White still has control of the basketball. The mere touching of the ball does not change the team control situation. Therefore, you would have a backcourt violation because White has control in their front court, and they are the first to touch it in the front court and then go back in the back court and get it, or they're the last to touch it regardless. Now, if the defense knocks it back there with no one touching it, then obviously they can go back and get it. And that to give you another example, that the 10-second count, while they're throwing the ball around in the backcourt, the 10-second count's still going on. And the mere fact that the defensive team knocks the ball down still doesn't constitute that count not continuing. And so you have the same type of rule with that. The mere touching the basketball does not change team possession.
I want to commend some of the officiating that I saw this week, because I saw two of the situations I just asked you. Both were handled precisely how you described it there. And sometimes the fan manual it can be, or at least can make you think if you're not 100% certain on it.
Well, again, it's a matter of who reads the rules and who doesn't. And not everybody in the United States receives a rule book, and so they have to create their own. That's why I always refer to the fans manual, or the coaches have to create their own, and it ends up being the coaches manual. And I asked somebody the other day, what page is that on in the coaches manual? And they looked at me like, are you crazy? Yeah, I am, but you are too for yelling at me.
Bo, I just got a quick question for you, and then like Ryan was saying, I'm probably overthinking something very simple. You see a lot of blocking fouls that are called directly underneath the basket, and I do know that in the college level there's a circle that goes around the basket that does prevent, that does determine whether it is a blocking foul or it can be called a charge. Does that circle still exist in the high school level here in West Virginia, or is it something that's strictly NCAA?
Well, it's funny you asked that, because I had a game the other day and the team's best player went up for a shot and the opponent had established the legal position of being there first before the player left the floor, and the player ran over the player, and I called a player control foul, and the coach immediately was saying, too far to the basket. We do not have that rule in high school basketball. Okay, so I immediately said, that's college rules. I don't have a semicircle out here to go by, number one. Number two, it's not a high school rule. It is a college rule. Too many people get caught up in looking at the college rules and NBA rules and try to throw them into high school, and it's totally different, and they're really a lot different now. There's a lot more different than there has been the last 3 or 4 years. So, anytime you see that play, as long as that every player is entitled to that spot on the court, as long as they got there first legally. And when it's block charge, as long as they got there before the offensive player left the floor, they're in legal possession.
Okay. I didn't get to talk with our folks in the back on this, and I apologize in advance. It's something we talked about off air earlier this week. Okay. I understand we don't have the video that I was going to mention, but I do want to ask, and I'll ask about the situation that happened without getting into the teams involved. There was a game that was a tie game, and clock winding down, and there was a whistle and the buzzer virtually simultaneously. Mm-hmm. That's a very difficult split-second call to make. I don't know if it was the quote-unquote right call or not, but what is the process when you have a call that is so close to the buzzer? I presume the officials get together and try to figure out if one heard it definitively.
Absolutely. You just have to get together and try to figure out the best thing for the game. And it's not always going to be the best for one or the other. That's what we're paid to do. We have to make our decisions, and not everybody's always going to agree with them. We do not have the whistle packs where the whistle stops the clock. The timekeeper has to stop it and start it. And then the other part of that is, we just have to use our judgment as far as that goes when it comes to that. So we get together, do the best we can, and, move on with the situation. So we have to decide, well, did the whistle, the horn, is it both? Well, if it's both and we have an opportunity to go ahead and play on, we can go ahead and let's do that. And let's just play overtime.
Bo Anderson, our resident referee, always a pleasure.
Hey, thank you very much. I always enjoy it. Even whenever I'm sitting here, I enjoy it.
Literally our resident referee tonight. Joe, this program not possible without some support.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia is made possible in part by financial support from the Dr. Carter G. Woodson Lyceum, the W. Page Pitt School of Journalism and Mass Communications, and, of course, WMUL-FM here at Marshall University.
Coming up after the break, we will talk with Wayne High School girls basketball coach Wade Williamson, as well as Craig Dutton of WRRR in St. Mary's. This is Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
If you love basketball, then there's only one place to be on Friday nights after the game. It's Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. And don't forget about the Daily Hoops Roundup, part of BasketballNight.com. Every day we recap the day's scores just for you on all the teams throughout West Virginia. We send followers a tweet at midnight with a link to the Daily Hoops Roundup. You can also visit BasketballNight.com and just click on the Daily Hoops Roundup for all the day's scores. We'd like for you to become part of our score reporting crew this week, too. Send us your team scores by Twitter, text, or email, and make that part of our Daily Hoops Roundup. We want you to be part of the Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia family. On Twitter, follow us at Hoops_Roundup, at Hoops_Roundup. You can email scores@basketballnight.com, scores@basketballnight.com. You can send a text with your scores to 304-249-4924, 304-249-4924. Check it out at basketballnight.com, the Daily Hoops Roundup. And, of course, there's many places to listen and watch basketball Friday night. Of course, we're on great radio stations throughout the Mountain State. Just click on our affiliates page for the station nearest you. You can also watch our high-definition video on YouTube. Go to basketballnight.com. Just click to watch. On Facebook Live, we're on the RSN Sports Facebook page. You can watch us on Facebook Live there. We're also on Periscope, Twitter at Hoops_Roundup, at Hoops_Roundup. And, of course, statewide, we're on Suddenlinks Network West Virginia. In the Huntington area, we're on Comcast, Channel 25.
Celebrating high school basketball around the Mountain State. You're listening to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia on the Fast Break Sports Network. Now, back to your hosts, Bill Cornwell, Joe Linville, and Ryan Epling.
11:32 on this Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Ryan Epling alongside Joe Linville and Bill Cornwell back in with us as well. I do want to give an update here. And apparently Harrison County Schools saying that it is remaining in constant contact with the WVSSAC. We have made efforts to speak with the representative of the SSAC about that situation. We've been unsuccessful in getting them. They've had the state wrestling tournament going on.
Yeah, they're just 6 blocks.
6 blocks away. Yeah,
literally, I mean, they could walk down here.
Yes, and so they've been busy, and we understand that. But they have confirmed that if the girls' sectional basketball game is not played Saturday or Monday between Lincoln and Bridgeport, they would not forfeit moving forward in tournament play. They say they are working to schedule the sectional next week, and So that's where that stands right now.
But I guess my concern in this situation, the teachers have pretty much announced that they're going to be out Monday as well.
They are out Monday.
Yeah, so we'll see
Yeah.
how that all plays out. We'll get a scoreboard in a moment. We'll also talk to Craig Dutton, WRR in St. Mary's in a moment as well. But first, let's go to Wade Williamson. He's the head coach of the Wayne Pioneers. The Lady Pioneers winning the Class AA Region 4 Section 1 championship tonight at Pioneer Gym with a 52-39 victory over Winfield. Coach Williamson, first off, congratulations on winning a sectional championship.
A lot, thank you. It's a good night for us, so we're all pretty excited around here.
And good night for the team, good night for the program, good night for the community as well. That was as well attended of a girls' basketball game as I've ever seen at Wayne High School.
Yeah, it's been phenomenal. The last two sectional games in there have been very well attended and good atmosphere to play in, and we're just happy that people are starting to take a little bit of notice of what we're doing, and they're starting supporting us very well. So we're tickled about that, and I'm very tickled for the community. It's been a long time, since maybe we've had this much enthusiasm about our basketball here. So that's a really good thing.
Your girls 23-1. Let's talk about that win tonight over Winfield. That's a very good Winfield team. ZZ Russell was first team All-State as a freshman a year ago, one of the Cardinal Conference's leading scorers. You hold her to 4 tonight, and that was one of many keys to that victory.
Yeah, I mean, we've been able for most of the year to be able to play good defense, and we try to take away, just like everybody else, good players on the other team, and I think she's hampered by a little bit of an ankle injury. Was earlier in the week, but she was still very fast tonight. So we were just able to keep her a little bit off balance and try to make her take some shots that maybe she's not used to taking, and then just really try to make sure we keep ourselves in between her and the basket, because she's really good at getting to the basket. And another thing that's critical about playing them and playing her is you got to get back on defense, and we were able to do that. So.
Wade, this is Bill Cornwell. First off, I want to congratulate you. I know you have worked hard to make this happen out there at Wayne, and just really happy for you, Wade. And of course, you're going to be taking on Lincoln County next week, hosting that regional final. Tell us about any activity you've had with Lincoln County, or just thoughts on Lincoln County.
Well, it's odd. We played them the first game of the year, and we haven't. That was the only time we played them this year, and so I'm kind of going into it a little blind. I mean, I've kept up with the record, and, teams they played, and things of that nature, but I haven't really seen them. I was lucky enough, I guess, right about early January, to see them again play somebody. So I haven't seen them recently, and then from what I hear and what I've gathered so far, which is not very much, that they've changed a lot, and they're obviously playing very well right now, and they have kids that can shoot the basketball, and when you've got kids that can shoot the basketball, you give yourselves a chance. And so we know we're going to have to play. We'll have to play defense, and we'll have to be able to take away some things, and we'll get into that a little bit more, this weekend, and try to see what I can find out about them a little bit, and we'll just get a game plan together and move forward. So see what we can do.
Coach, it's Joe Linville. Congratulations on this successful season, and I did get to see your Lady Pioneers play over at Scott. How do you keep them in perspective with this big winning streak, with this successful season, to keep focused on what they're doing and just keep doing what they have been doing?
Well, I think it's always tough, and then it's it gets to that, it gets to a point where it is tough to be on your best game every night. But we've been able. We're old. We got an old team. These several of the kids have been here 4 years, and then several others have been here 3 years. So we got an old team, and they played a lot of basketball. They played a lot of basketball together, and I think they just have a certain mental toughness about it. That kind of pushes us through. Our seniors are very, very good leaders, and so it's just probably just a combination of experience and age and things of that nature. I don't know that it's anything I do necessarily. It's just their mentality.
And Coach Williamson, let's back up to Wednesday, because Wednesday was, you almost didn't get there.
Yeah.
That was a game against Nitro in the regional semifinal, or sectional semifinal, excuse me. And Nitro played very well, was very well prepared going into that game. With 5 minutes, or with 2 minutes left, your team was down 5, and Nitro had the ball. That's about as
far behind
ominous,
the 8 ball.
an ominous situation. But your team able to make some plays. Ariel Atkins made plays. Whitney Sansom made plays. Haley Wallace made a play. Sarah Hooks made a play. It's the team, and that's what's been so impressive about this squad all year.
Yeah. It was ominous, and then we did make plays. And that's what you have to do when you're on a streak or you're playing at this time of year. You got to make plays, and people are going to come in and play well, and they did. And I think they hit 6 or 7 threes in the game, and we weren't able to hit any, so we were, down in that stretch a little bit. So we were all the time, it seemed like, fighting to just, stay hanging the game. And with the player, Maddie made some huge plays in that game, and Ariel made some huge plays, and the other 2 kids that you mentioned, 3 kids you mentioned, made huge plays too. But I think that Ariel and Maddie, have been down that road so many times for us, and we've lost some games like that for sure over the past 3 years. That it was just it's just been a building experience, and I felt like they just kind of put us on their back and just willed us to win that one, quite frankly.
Maddie Wilcox with 13 rebounds tonight to go along with 14 points. She had 20 points in the sectional semifinal. Ariel Atkins had 25 points in the sectional semis. And then tonight, 21. Wayne wins the Section 1 tournament. Will host Lincoln County next Thursday night for a trip to the AA state tournament. Wade Williamson, head coach of the Lady Pioneers, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Again, happy night in Wayne for the
Happy
Pioneers.
night on the set.
Winfield's a really good team too, and they do a lot of good things, so can't say enough good things about them. Craig Dutton of WRRR in St. Mary's joins us now on the program. Craig, we finally got to you, buddy.
Sorry, but we're out of time.
Yeah. I thought I'd give a call a little bit later. I didn't get to see the single A Region 1 Section 2 tournament championship. I did get to listen to a good bit of Dave St. Peter and Bill Oxier's call from the night, and it was one half to the next. Ritchie County showed up, had to play very physical up against their 2 young post players in Kendra Pilot and Maddie Winters. Second half, it took a turn for the worse for Ritchie County offensively. They only scored 10 points in that entire second half, where Magnolia went on their way to play very physical, dominant. They had a lot of old-fashioned three-point plays, getting the 2 to go in the paint and then go to the line and make your free throws. And that's what resulted in a 24-point victory tonight for Magnolia. I think it was 58-34 was the final in that matchup. I got to see Ritchie County play Tyler earlier in the week, and honestly, I feel that your Region 1 matchups now make for a pretty good matchup. I think Cameron and Magnolia will set up very well for a Region 1 matchup on Wednesday night. Rich, you have to take the tough bout and have to go to Wheeling Central next Wednesday. Other than that, I think that game in New Martinsville will probably be the biggest one to watch for between Cameron and Magnolia, of those 2.
That should be a fantastic ball game. And again, Magnolia getting the win over Ritchie County tonight, 58-34. And this is the great time of year, so to speak. And for Magnolia, boy, had to survive in the semifinal of the sectional to defeat St. Mary's 52-51. And again, as we were just talking about, almost didn't get here.
Yeah. St. Mary's, that surprised me as well. They led basically that entire ball game. Every time we got an update from 93R, I was calling the game on 92.3 WXCR between Tyler and Richie. St. Mary's had a lead as much as 8 points throughout most of the evening. And then once we heard it was back within 1 point at the start of the fourth period, I don't know how Magnolia managed to do it at home, but they managed to hold off St. Mary's, a team that was able to stay with them physically, and I think they were able to keep up with them up and down the court when they first played each other back in December. But it was just a much different situation. I think it's tougher to try to beat that team the second time, and that was proven for Magnolia. Tonight they didn't have much trouble with Ritchie County. Cameron will bring a whole different element to it. They're going to have one big underneath there to contend with, and then they got a very good array of depth on that team. That's one thing that's going to be a little bit different. Magnolia sticks to their post players. They're going to need more involvement from all their guard play if they want to have a chance to try to take down Cameron.
Craig, give Dave St. Peter our best. We unfortunately weren't able to get him this evening, and we appreciate it. We appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. He's got the call tomorrow between Ritchie and Peyton City in the play-in game, 4 and 5, and our Section 2 tournament will start. Tuesday, I'm a little concerned, too. You all were talking about Harrison County. We had our concerns because Magnolia really wanted to move tonight's game to Saturday. I think as long as the work stoppage goes on, there's going to be some teams, I think, that really don't want to play Monday through Friday. So we'll just have to wait and see. I'll try to keep you guys updated on Twitter and everything if there should be any of those games moved this week.
I greatly appreciate that. That's Craig Dutton, WRRR in St. Mary's. We have to step aside, take our final break. When we come back, we'll have our poll question, scoreboard update, cause time, and the greatest little story of how to get to a ball game. A young lady wanted to play in a basketball game, and she took some extreme measures to get there. We'll talk about that when Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia continues on the Fast Break Sports Network.
Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia will return in 2 minutes on the Fast Break Sports Network.
For scores online, all of them in West Virginia, visit basketballnight.com, and we've got all the sectional brackets too. Special thanks to all of our great radio stations carrying Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia, including 103.7 Jack FM, WQWV in Fisher, the Valley's Watchdog, 1600 AM WKKX Wheeling, 1370 AM WVLY Moundsville, Jackson County's home for Southern Gospel, Singing News Radio 92.5 FM, WTHM LP Ravenswood Ripley, Nights Radio 91.5 FM WRSG Middleburn, Talk Radio WRNR Martinsburg 740 AM 106.5 FM, Classic Hits 106 WHFI Linside 106.7 FM, 95 The Sports Fox WBES Charleston 950 AM, The Voice of the Coalfields 101.9 FM and 1290 AM WVOW Logan, Light Rock 93R WRRR St. Mary's 93.9. The Ticket 102.3 FM WMTD in Hinton. The Greatest Oldies of All Time 98.5 FM and 101.5 FM WQAZLP Edmond, Beckley. Tune for You Yap Radio 101.7 FM WYAPLV in Clay. And Marshall University's flagship station, The Cutting Edge 88.1 FM WMUL in Huntington. Cable subscribers can find us statewide on Suddenlink's Network West Virginia, and the Huntington region we're on Comcast Channel 25. You can also go to RSN Sports Facebook page. We're streaming on Facebook Live. Welcome to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia.
Stay up to date on your favorite teams. Check out basketballnight.com. Now, back to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia with Bill Cornwell, Joe Linville, and Ryan Epling.
11:48 on the program. Ryan Epling, Bill Cornwell with you. Joe Linville is in studio with us tonight. Marcus Constantino is here now. We have a lot to do. We don't have much time to get there. Marcus, time for the poll question.
Time for the poll question. First, last week's question: should counties be allowed to play and practice during a work stoppage? And I'll apologize to Dr. Bailey. He doesn't like us saying how many people voted, but this has been overwhelming. We had 87%, 104 people vote yes, they should be allowed to play and practice, and 13%, 15 people said no. 119 voters. Definitely a lot of response on last week's poll question.
That's been a kind of a hot topic issue in the state.
Definitely.
And still is.
And it's showing. This week's poll question: should the half circle under the basket be implemented in high school basketball? Yes or no? You can vote at basketballnight.com. That poll will be open until 11:45 next Friday night.
Thank you very much, Marcus. And let's jump right into this. Bill, we've got weather conditions over the weekend that are not looking good. We've had high water in the area all up and down the Ohio River, and that's created some issues inland a little bit as well.
Yeah. Well, first I want to get one story. Congratulations and kudos to Rodney Plumley, who is the head boys basketball coach at Lincoln County High School. Huntington High put the word out about a week ago. They needed a game. They lost a game, and they lost the game that was going to be their senior night. And they were desperate enough for a game that they said, heck, we'll go to your place. Well, Lincoln County called them and said, we'll play you, and we'll even give you senior night. So the Huntington High senior night for boys basketball was actually held the other night at Lincoln County High School. And I was told tonight by Bruce Senior, the athletic director at Huntington High, he said it was a first-class operation. Lincoln County folks did it right. You wouldn't know that those kids were from Huntington because they treated them just like if they were from Lincoln County. So great work, Lincoln County High School, Rodney Plumley, and all the folks down in Hamlin, because that's a great thing. Now, our other story. It's a Huntington area story as well. Of course, we've been fighting floods throughout the Ohio Valley and around the state because of the past heavy rains. Well, this is someone that really wanted to play some basketball. And this is a young lady from a school that we don't talk a lot about because it is a non-SSAC school. Matter of fact, they're not even in the West Virginia Christian Athletic organization. They kind of go their own way. This is Covenant School in Barbersville. And this is a young lady who's a 5'9" sophomore guard named Cassie Vanoy. Now, Cassie lives in the Altizer section of Huntington, which is a little bit isolated, and it was very isolated by the Guyandotte River a few days ago, very much so, and there was no way for her to get across by road to practices and games. So what did she do? She kayaked across the Guyandotte River from her home in Altizer. If you're watching our video feed, you see it. She is kayaking across the Guyandotte River from Altizer to the other side of the Guyandotte to play. Again, this is a 5'9" sophomore guard, Cassie Vanoy, Covenant School in Barbersville. That is a young lady that wants to play some basketball right there.
That is determination.
And I got to credit veteran referee Lou Peak and our own Bo Anderson for passing that story along to me. Also, they heard it from Tim Stevens, our good friend from the Herald-Dispatch, and Tim is going to write an article. I know it's going to be a fine one about Cassie Vanoy kayaking to a basketball game.
Just happen to have a kayak handy.
I love kayaking, but I've never kayaked to a basketball game.
Joe, if you have to kayak to basketball Friday night in West Virginia, that's going to be a long kayak.
It's going to be about a 3 or 4 day trip.
I was going to say, you better start now for next week's show.
Exactly.
All right. I do want to let you know, for all the scores and all the tournament brackets, go to basketballnight.com. Fred Dameron, Marcus Constantino have worked extensively on gathering all of that information. Basketballnight.com has all of that information.
And you'll never find sectional brackets anywhere else like it's on basketballnight.com.
Absolutely. And
they've done a tremendous job.
We're almost out of show. We got 6 minutes left. So An abbreviated cause time is upon us. Let's go to the phones to our good buddy from the Martinsburg Journal, Rick Kozlowski.
It may be.
It certainly seems that way. Rick, welcome to the program.
Hey, where'd Cos go? I think he walked out.
Oh, my. I'm too young for this.
Hey, guys, how we doing?
We're doing well. How are you tonight?
I guess I'm in a unusually silly mood, more so than normal. How's that?
It's been that kind of week.
It was a quiet night up there in the Panhandle, Cause. I mean, what in the heck you been doing?
Reading wrestling stories.
There you go.
But I did see a basketball game tonight. The Mason-Dixon Christian Conference Final Four was held at the semifinals were held at the Berkeley 2000 Rec Center. So I got to see Faith Christian out of Martinsburg play a team from Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, and it was an entertaining game because obviously no other basketball is going on, and I wonder how much basketball will go on next week.
Yes,
I got a text message from a coach tonight. And I have to call him when I get off the air here. And he's telling me that as long as the teachers are on strike, he nor his staff are coaching his basketball team. So, I don't know, how many other coaches might be. And this is a boys' team, so I don't know how many other coaches might be, looking at things the same way. But interesting prospects. Obviously, we know what's going on in Harrison County with the girls, but I guess round 2 happens with the boys coming up.
And I don't think we foresaw the problem in Harrison County, so I don't know that there won't be some issues that we don't foresee in the coming week. So we'll just, I guess, have to play that by ear, watch how that all plays out.
Just a quick question. Is this coach a program of a successful team or maybe not so successful team?
No, they're a successful team.
Okay.
So that could certainly.
I don't want to say who it is right now.
I understand. That's fine. So I don't want to know.
Yeah.
But
and he told me that there apparently are other coaches in the state who might follow the same plan of action, or I guess in this case would be inaction.
And I guess.
So
I was just going to say, I guess the way to put it is that it's been 28 years since there was a work stoppage / teacher strike in West Virginia. That one was not all 55 counties. And what I can tell you, and for folks who haven't witnessed it before, there will be harsh words, there will be hard feelings. We'll all get over it eventually. But point being that this isn't a pretty thing. This doesn't go smoothly. It never does.
No, and I saw it back in 28 years ago because it was going on in this area during the boys sectional tournament, and at the time they used to play the games at Shepherd. They used to load that facility up with people, and I vividly recall teachers outside picketing at the entrances, and then people going into the games, and the game's still going on. And then, of course, the teachers put their signs down and came and watched the games, too.
That would be interesting.
I guess you, quote unquote, make your point, and then you go on about your day.
It was interesting. I will say it that. But like I said, I still have pretty vivid memories of watching that, and even to the fact that the weather was absolutely gorgeous when they were out there picketing.
I was going to say
you could go without a long sleeve shirt. I know Bo didn't like his long sleeve shirt he was wearing today.
I'll tell you, you just never know about people. I'll just put it that way. But Rick, appreciate you joining us, and sorry that we don't have more time, but.
He always puts an interesting twist on the show.
He does. He always makes me think about something that I hadn't even been thinking about at the time, and that's why we have cause time.
That's right.
Exactly, right there. Rick, thanks so much as always, and let's hope we can talk some basketball next week.
Absolutely. You guys have a great weekend and a great week. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks again. And then again, that's Rick Kozlowski of the Martinsburg Journal. Before we go, this show emanates from Marshall University, from WMUL-FM. From the studios of WMUL-FM on the campus of Marshall University. The Marshall University athletic family suffered a tragedy. It didn't happen this week, but it came to a tragic conclusion this week. Larry Aaron, a defensive tackle on the Thundering Herd football team, he was shot on New Year's Eve in Baltimore. He was paralyzed from that shooting. He then passed away earlier this week at the age of 19 from that shooting. And from all accounts, it was from a stray bullet while he was protecting his girlfriend, shot in the back. Larry Aaron passed away at age 19. So keep he and his family in your thoughts. We'll be back with you next week, hopefully to talk basketball.
Thank you for listening to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. Tune in next Friday for the latest high school basketball action from across the Mountain State. Visit basketballnight.com for our show archives, the poll question of the week, and the basketballnight.com scoreboard. Until next time, have a great weekend, and thank you for listening to Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia. The preceding broadcast was a presentation of the Fast Break Sports Network. Copyright 2018. All rights reserved.